chance to make it 28-3. Arthur Blank loving it. Up by 25. Toss to White. He's in! What a comeback!
All right, welcome to a very special episode of the 28-3 podcast. We are joined by a cast of thousands today from the UK. Corey, you want to give us a roundtable introduction of who we have with us today in studio?
Well, believe it or not, that was not a current event. PSA from Max. We actually do, in fact, have two, as they called me, lovely blokes, I believe, when I was a guest on their podcast. We have, and I said two, we actually have three. And he'll be jumping on a little bit, but we have as our guests, long time in the making, Dan and Mike of Saint City Me podcast, at Procrastinatus on Twitter, and at MKC Papa on Twitter.
I like the way that you got it right.
And they're here to, as they do on their podcast, send love letters, and I forget the whole, what is the intro?
Swear and get drunk.
Yeah.
That's normally
fit right
No, but so anyway, they're in town for French Quarter Fest, and we had to take the opportunity to have them on as guests in person in 28-3 Studios. So, gentlemen, how are we doing?
Doing great. Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, absolutely. So, y'all are in town for French Quarter Fest. So, what are we on? Today, we're recording this on Monday, right? When did y'all get in town?
I went on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Later on Wednesday than I should have.
I got here Tuesday evening, so I enjoyed the Wednesday weather, which was, which was wonderful.
Yeah, when you got in here, Mike, it was it was actually a lot worse. The rain was.
Yeah, I mean, again, I say that, but the surrounding area, I could see the devastation that was going on. The area that I was in, there was a little bit of flooding, and you couldn't get out of your hotel. So,
we're used to kind of
let's put it in real terms.
It's like, a couple feet of water is not too bad. You know, it's like
Happens a couple times a year.
Like I looked down from my office window and was like, yeah, the street's flooding again. It's only up like halfway up the car tires. Could be worse.
Yeah.
But
I think Dan's entry into the country was more interesting than mine, wasn't it, mate? You were.
Well, it was going swimmingly well. I was in Atlanta. I got on the plane. We took off, and then we landed at MSY, and they parked us next to the old terminal and left us there for 2 hours before they let us get off the plane.
Oh, I saw you tweeting about that. That's just terrible.
Yeah, and it was like no comms from the staff. They just all disappeared to the back of the plane. I was like, thank you.
Gosh.
Yeah, it was tough. Missed out on 2 hours drinking in the city, so I was very disappointed. As a Brit, like that's like a lifetime.
I was thinking about it. I'm like, that's like 2 hours of prime time. I mean, because you landed, like, wheels actually down at what, like 9?
9? Yeah.
So, I mean, the 2 hours between 9 p.m. and 11 p.m.
Kind of prime.
Like your first night here.
They wasn't giving me any beer on the plane either, so I was like, what's going on?
Hey, look, his pod wife came to his rescue because I then went out and got him some juicifer to have in the hotel. So when he turned up,
I mean,
he literally turned up.
Commonality here because when Corey picked me up in November, he turned up in the car with a case of juicifer for me, some gumbo and some potato salad.
Did it right.
Did it right. Does the same. He pulls up with some juicifer for me.
Dan entered the hotel. I'd already wound him up about the fact that the hotel lifts were broke, which he wasn't happy about. And then he winds up, takes a juicifer, virtually downs it in one, and just goes to bed. So
needed it.
Oh man, love it. So what have y'all been up to? I mean, so French Quarter Fest, first day in town. What'd y'all do? Like, once you got your rest, what's it been like?
It's been good. It's been pretty full on. We've been just spending time with so many people. It's like on Thursday, like Eric came down with a buddy, and then on Friday we went and met Jess, who's been on our podcast, the yoga instructor for the Saints, and you guys came through on Saturday when we was down, and Jason from Dome Patrol podcast came down. Yeah, hung out with Ross Jackson, Kat Terrell. We hung out with Jeff Duncan today. It's just like been like a show-stopping tour of who's who in New Orleans. All the important people.
But and it is incredible because yet again, if you guys if you supported a soccer team in London, whether it be Tottenham, Arsenal.
Yeah, if you came I know which ones y'all have. Well, Nick's a big soccer guy. Who
do you support?
Premier League?
Yeah.
You're going to hate it.
Chelsea.
Well, they both have.
Well, you're opposite sides of the table.
They both have rival teams. So.
No, I love City just because I love Pep. But when
Are you allowed to
When I was a
swear?
kid-
Can you swear on this podcast?
I told you you're gonna hate it.
Yeah, no, this is no holding back. This is y'all can do whatever.
We encourage it.
Regardless of the E that may or may not be in our description, have fun.
How do you feel about the Premier League
I
season?
hope that
though?
doesn't get flagged by.
Where's it
Apple.
gonna finish?
It's over now with
You
the
think? Just
results
'cause of this
the weekend.
weekend? Yeah.
Because Arsenal lost, my team,
Yeah.
and Liverpool lost. Man City are just a juggernaut. They're a machine.
Yeah.
A cheating machine.
They do cheat.
Well, they cheat. We're not going to get into that, but they've literally. We actually, funnily enough, we spoke about this. Was it yesterday? We were saying about it, and
Yeah.
they've obviously got all these charges hanging over them.
Yeah,
and
for
other
sure.
teams have been penalised.
Everton,
Yeah,
recently,
exactly.
yeah.
We broke the rules yesterday. Oh, we're going to punish you today.
Right.
Yeah.
Man City have been breaking them for 5 years. But we think that they're actually going to try and set a precedent in place, which is because obviously the financial power of Man City means their lawyers are going to be always better than the lawyers that
Right.
are representing the organisations.
Damn lawyers.
So these other teams have been penalised, so they can actually say, "Look, we did it to these, so forget about
It's
your
time
lawyers."
to pay up. Yeah, I mean,
I think we're going to end up with a place in European soccer where it's going to have like a luxury tax like you've got here. Where it's like if you go over it, we're just going to you just pay us more money.
right. So you think they'll shift the system just to
I think
try
eventually, just to
yeah.
keep the big teams big.
like the NBA
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
similar?
Yeah.
But I mean, y'all have to feel pretty damn good right now, though.
Who, me?
Yeah.
I'm an Arsenal fan. I don't feel good about anything.
But you should now. It's been rough.
Yeah, no,
And you gotta-
you're right. I feel better now about Arteta and for his first 2
His first year,
years,
it's
his
fair,
first,
yeah.
no, his first
He was
sort of
about
maybe
to-
18 months, and everybody was like, "I'm not sure about this." I understood he had there was a project in place.
Because they were so young.
And my
So-
two sons were a little bit like, I'm not really sure. And I said, I believe that he's doing something.
Yeah.
And yeah, a young team and,
You don't say that about Dennis Allen.
Yeah, because
They're not young.
We'll get onto that later.
Different standards.
But there's some structure and organisation
Yep.
and behind what Arteta's doing. We'll get onto that later.
Well, this is good. I mean,
We'll have a
if
giggle
you
when we get
happen
into
to
that.
have fast forwarded to the 7-minute mark, this is now the 28 to Premier League podcast. And,
You don't bring a couple British dudes
Yeah,
on.
no,
and not
I know.
talk
I
Premier
figured.
League. Come
I
on.
knew you were gonna have some questions, which is good. I want to get into y'all's podcast. So that's a great thing about having other guys we're friends with who have a podcast coming on to ours. Is that whatever kind of crossover there is, if you're a listener of us and you don't listen to Saint City and me, you get to hear from Dana Mike what they're all about. I do want to do one thing though before we get into that. We do have a third gentleman here who has traveled across the pond to be here. That is Steve, who can be found on Twitter at Hoodat in the UK. Nick, why don't you hand your mic to Steve? I just got a couple questions for him, real quick.
Go
Steve, welcome.
Go Steve.
Yeah, because Steve is a champion. Anyone that can decide on like a Thursday that he's
Well,
flying across.
let's not ruin the punchline real quick. So, Steve, today's Monday, the 15th. So, Monday of last week, did you have any intentions of being in the U.S.?
I did not.
Okay. All right. And you and I were texting on the WhatsApp,
We
talking
were.
about these two gentlemen being over here, talking about the Pels,
Yep.
whatnot. And I think it was like Thursday. We kind of left it at that. Like, yeah, it's going to be a good weekend, Pels game. And then I go back to my phone, and and your most recent message was like, I can't believe this, but
Yeah.
so why don't you fill in the rest there? So what happened there?
Steve, before you start, proper context, please. You're British, so proper context.
There'll be some context.
Virgin or
They'll-
American listeners, they might not know how y'all hang.
There will be some context. So the week before I was in Spain with my son for 2 weeks, and I came back and I said, I've drunk a lot of alcohol. I'm not going to drink for a while. So I didn't drink on Monday. I didn't drink on Tuesday. I didn't drink on Wednesday. I didn't drink on Thursday.
Time out, is that a new record?
For this year, yeah. So, but then I thought, okay, so the Pels game's on Friday night. So for us, it was 3 o'clock in the morning. I thought, I don't know whether I can do that. I better have a drink. So,
Good old
so I've
cards.
been texting with Dan and Mike. Obviously, I knew they were over. I knew they were having a great time. I said, God, I really wish I could be over there. We were over in November, and I plan to come back later this year. So, Pell's game, I thought, yeah, okay, I'll have a drink. So I went and bought a litre of vodka.
Not six pack.
No.
No.
You know, that's easy.
It's a long
for
time
you.
to stay up. A six pack is not gonna cut it.
Do it the right way. Yeah.
So I started drinking at about 6 p.m. and talking to Dan and Mike through the night, and they were sending me pictures, and I said, I'm getting major FOMO.
it wasn't
And
that.
We weren't sending pictures at that point.
all right, well,
The memory recall's gone already.
I love this because, all right, there's the three, Max, Nick, and I who do the podcast. Now there's the three of y'all. And I feel like this is exactly, when one of
the
us
same
gives
dynamic.
a personal anecdote, there's always like one or two coming in like, no, that's not how it happened.
Well, no, this is why we're friends.
Yeah, no, exactly.
It makes total sense.
Brutal honesty. So let's keep going. This is fun.
which
This
is the British equivalent. So what did happen?
No, because you was like, oh, I'm thinking about it. I've got flights, and obviously he, from Steve's point of view, the one thing he was majorly concerned about is your son, because you look after your son, don't you?
Yeah, and you know, I have him alternate weeks. So yeah, he was with me, but obviously, I'd had him for 2 weeks going on holiday.
Okay.
So just to try and keep things like on our normal schedule, I had him for some of the week as well. But yeah, I started to think about it. You know, the vodka started to kick in. I was thinking, God, do you know what? I think maybe if I didn't have Rufus, I might actually go like, as in didn't have him that weekend, not didn't have him at all.
Yep,
That sounds
Jesus
cold.
Christ.
I wasn't going there in my head, but
Looking at your son.
I do appreciate you clarifying.
UK parenting.
I'm not sure I could have like predicted that 13 years ago, but so yeah, I said yeah. If I didn't have him this weekend, but there's nothing I can do. There's absolutely nothing I can do.
Now this is the point where my son.
Love it.
No, I'm not disagreeing with
This
him,
is the best podcast I've ever recorded. I'm just like sitting back, watching them.
I love Mike for this because this
Mike
is
is
what I have
back.
to do to you.
I'm the British version of Max. Yeah.
Well, my middle name is Daniel, so there we go. We got Daniel. You know, there's a lot of parallels here.
Yeah. The only point I was going to say that is the point where when Steve was considering, which I thought was incredible that he was even considering, and then when it got to the point where he thought I can't get someone to look after my son, that's when me and Dan started sending photos from a call
because you know it is
you can't make
it's
it
all
now.
love.
Y'all knew.
Look how much fun
love
we're
it.
having. So yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Did y'all think you would
For
actually?
the record, that is exactly what I would have done to
Oh
you
yeah,
in that same situation.
Max is like, for anyone who has a negative connotation on peer pressure, or anyone that's like, oh, you shouldn't peer pressure your friends, Max just like throw all that shit out the window. I mean, like,
What is it?
Peer pressure is
Bullying
a-
works.
yeah, there's a
Is this when a
fine
better health
line.
commercial comes in?
Yeah. Some would say fine line. Some would say there's not a line between like peer pressure and bullying. You're not a bully, Max. You're just very good at encouraging friends to do things that they don't want to do.
It's quite persuasive.
Well, I mean, sometimes people need that extra little push or shove.
And it's worked. It's worked.
It works.
And Dan and Mike, you know, thought that it was their place to give me that little push. So
And aren't you happy that they gave you that little push?
well, so
I think we all
I think
are,
we're like
We're all happy.
about 2 a.m. So it's like an hour before the game. I've polished off 3/4 of a litre of vodka,
There's a lot of metric system math in there.
and
Is it 70
then
know.
I found a solution for Rufus.
Wow.
Someone needs to let
And-
him out of the basement, by the way. Have you told
I've got someone checking in on him.
You
Actually,
might run
I've got
out-
a video camera set up.
He's
Like,
run
he's
out of pot
fine.
noodles.
Yeah, just and if you're listening to this, it's probably been like 12 hours at least since we recorded, so just take that into account.
So yeah, I booked it, and
The best part's still to
and that
come,
was
though.
it. And I thought, I've got no hotel, I've got no Pels tickets, I've got no plan. I don't know what. So actually, I did phone Mike because you know I knew these guys were coming over, and I didn't want to like
That sounds like very
like interrupt their holidays. I said, look, if I can do this, would you mind? And no,
I was gonna
obviously
say
not.
Before that though, that sounds pretty like OG Brit of you.
Thank you.
Just go to the new world. We don't know what's over there. We don't have a place to stay. We don't have friends. Like we're just gonna go. We know there's land over there. We're just fucking going. Like that's the OSG grit.
So
You know,
we built the empire.
what we do.
We heard a couple guys.
No, we're not getting into
There's a couple of other Brits who we think are there. So we're just gonna fuck it. We're just gonna go.
They sent me some
good
pic-
enough.
Yeah.
No, it's fine.
So it worked out. Wow.
Well, I mean, it almost didn't.
Okay. Go on.
Go on. Oh, how very English of you.
Why don't
had
you
to do
continue
it.
that
I had to
story,
do it.
old bean?
I packed frantically on Saturday morning. I got Rufus to his grandmother's. Great. Jumped in the car.
Shout out
Went
to
on
the
the-
grandmother.
Shout out to the grandmother.
If she's listening.
Fantastic that she did that.
What's it? Get her to download the Apple or Spotify app.
Absolutely. So I was looking at the
those
time,
listeners.
thinking, am I actually going to make this? Am I going to make it? This still seems ridiculous. What the hell am I doing? Dropped the car off the airport, got into the terminal building, walked into the terminal building, and we have a really big Saints WhatsApp group in the UK.
Right.
So there's like 100 people in there almost.
Oh damn, that's a lot.
And
But hold on, what the fuck is WhatsApp? What is this?
Yeah, we know you don't know what WhatsApp is. It's modern
I thought you
technology. Matt.
WhatsApp. I thought you texted with Dan on WhatsApp before.
No, me and
It's a
Max,
text.
I
Text
message.
on, yeah.
It's just like no iMessage, but cross-platform. So
Got you.
Come on.
You use it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, shit, if you use it, I feel bad.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I feel very bad.
I'm glad that we got that on the recording.
Nick and I are the same.
What?
Nick and I are the same age, but he's literally
So,
20
Max,
years older than us when it comes to
60
technology.
You're not going to believe this, but there's an app where you can actually not just talk to each other, but like send money to people. Venmo.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know.
Quite
Same
aware
one.
of it.
Not in the-
Yours is
not in the
broken, I
UK,
know that,
though.
because you can't send me money whenever I need it from you.
Well, I can
Doesn't have
on
money.
PayPal.
There we go, PayPal. That's
Thanks, Venmo.
but I know Corey's PayPal's working.
Yep, it is.
I know his
I know
Venmo
this.
doesn't work.
And we'll get to that one.
Yeah, get to that. So yeah, I got to the airport and then I put a post in that WhatsApp group saying, you know, this is what I'm doing. What the actual hell am I doing? And and someone responded, "Have you checked your ESTA?"
An Esther is for the
visa.
visa, listeners,
It's a visa, basically,
which is required for.
which is required.
It's just for UK. Does
yeah, so everyone's
it's
coming to the US.
Is that a,
so there's
yeah,
an
yeah.
Esther.
is that a post Brexit thing or is that all the
No,
EU?
no, it's-
No,
it's
it's been there for.
So there's
been
been
there
a
for a while.
couple
For
things
quite-
that are like
quite a long time.
UK
So basically,
specific.
it replaces the fact that when we come to the US, we don't have to just fill in a bit of paperwork when we get here.
You can't
Just
just
do it, and for 2 years, you can come into the US without getting a.
y'all can't
proper
just
visa.
take your passport, get on
No.
a plane.
No, we
Like,
have to have an
just-
ESTA. So it's
yeah.
like an entry
Got it.
visa to
So-
come in.
So someone was like, check the
So
Esther.
that's fine. So I took my son to Florida, December 21. Came over to New Orleans last November. It expired while I was here, but that's okay. You only need to get into the country. Once you're here, it's fine. Yeah. So checked your
I
ESTA.
can imagine how upset you'd have
And
been.
there was
Somebody's
a-
like, you have to stay in New Orleans.
Oh shit! December 21 was more than 2 years ago, and it only lasts for 2 years.
Yeah.
So I couldn't get on the plane.
How close were you?
Legally, couldn't get on the plane.
Legally couldn't get. They wouldn't let me.
You have to apply
So-
to Homeland
so you were-
Security.
So I quick.
Before security checkpoints?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So I quickly went through on their web on the website to apply for one, and it says we don't know whether your application is successful. We'll let you know within 72 hours.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert, he's here. we can brush over the next
So
bit.
he's either
Sorted it
here
out.
legally or he is letting us record him telling us how he smuggled himself into the U.S. So that's okay. I got friends at ICE in New Orleans. It's fine.
So-
we'll be good. You know.
And the Jeff Landry though.
Oh God! Don't get me on Jeff Landry. This is not a political podcast, but anyway. So what?
So yeah. So I went to the United desk. They said you're not getting on that plane.
Really?
We yeah.
How
It
far are
was,
you from takeoff at this point?
hour and a half?
And you're still before security?
Yeah. So I've literally just walked into the terminal building and they said, no, there's no way you get on that plane.
Okay, so how the hell are you?
So I applied,
how are you
and he
here?
said, just go and sit down, have a drink, relax. Let me know when it comes through.
Sit down, have a drink,
And-
another litre of vodka.
Yeah.
Then I fell asleep.
Then I fell asleep, and somehow I ended up here. And then I just frantically checked my phone for the next hour.
refresh,
about
refresh,
45, 50 minutes came through, went over to the desk, and they said, okay, we can get you on the next flight. I said, so how much is it going to cost me? They said, no, it's fine, don't worry.
Wow. Shout out to United. Never thought I'd say that this year.
Honestly, I can't actually say enough good stuff about United, given the experience that I've had
I
over the
prefer
past
City,
few
if
days.
I'm honest. I'm on Nick's
Yeah,
side.
I flew BA on my way for the honeymoon, but damn, that's impressive. So not only
yeah,
they did a
that was
72-hour job within 45 minutes.
Yeah,
and then
it's-
the desk agents were like, just
Sounds
go.
like my sex
Yeah.
life.
So here we are.
That's like my third one of the night. 72-hour job in
Don't you say that
45
out
minutes? Yeah, you say it. Actually, you know.
Oh no, I know
louder
how
next
Mike
time.
works.
Yeah. Do you?
He calms down halfway through, as you know. It just takes a half hour.
Yeah.
Nah, we're good. That's amazing.
Well, hold on. Let's pivot. So they've had both of us on their pod.
Correct. That's what I
And
wanted to
we
pivot
had
to.
talked about restaurants and other things in New Orleans. So now that you guys have been back multiple times since we've been on your pod, give me some thoughts as to where you've been, restaurant-wise, bars. Because obviously you guys have been hitting the bars hard. So let us know what you're thinking. What's been good? What's lived up to the hype that we've said? What hasn't?
I mean, living up to the hype.
I know Hanson's hasn't because you haven't been there. And I'm
Yeah.
mad at you for
I
that.
am-
That's a really
I am,
sore
that is
subject.
his fault.
You still-
It's not my fault.
It is your fault. Right? That's just
All right.
it's your fault. Right? We're
Well, time out. He's been there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
So,
how is
he's
that-
good.
It's not
Max,
my
he's
fault.
good with it. He's
He
not
gets you
still-
juicifer, but no Hansons?
Hansons.
Oh, no,
I
yeah.
mean, come on.
So this was the trip where you would go for your first time. You still have.
No, yeah, exactly. We
It's
came
not that you
last
haven't
year.
been this trip. You haven't been yet. Period.
He hasn't been
I-
at all.
Okay.
I've been texting Max about it, saying how excited I was, and just
Yeah.
I send him a picture of every Hanson snowball I get. So that's at least 2 pictures a week.
Well, I mean, gotta hit it up before you leave.
so.
You can.
Not. I was saying not this trip, but last trip was over. Pesh. Max got us onto Pesh. That was phenomenal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That
really,
was
really
so good.
Really good.
But
Max did his normal thing though. Like we didn't realise Max was going to be.
I
in
knew
there.
Max was going to be there.
All right, I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
Max
we-
does have a normal thing.
We sort of get in there to have dinner with people, and Max just comes straight over and tells us what we should be eating, which obviously is both the way that Max is, and obviously he knows his shit.
There are, to his credit, I mean, yeah, he does have his way about him, but there are certain restaurants where
Low blow.
I mean, that's a compliment. There are certain restaurants where I will just straight up look at Max and be like, dude, you order. Because I know you know the restaurant well enough, you know your food well enough, you know the chefs well enough, or I'll just be like, what should I get? Or I'll be somewhere.
You should be asking me that everywhere you go. Just for the record.
McDonald's, Popeyes.
I was about to say, like,
Corey, is
I
it that,
mean-
or you admitting you don't know what you're
There it is.
no, I know what I like, but when I
Well,
want
actually,
to try,
that's a good thing.
Colby
So,
Jack, right?
when I want to
Yeah.
try something, it's Colby Jack cheese.
you guys remember the charcuterie board episode that we did, which
Yeah.
was 9 months ago, 10 months ago at this point.
Phenomenal episode.
One of the best podcast episodes I've ever listened to.
And Corey, to his credit, was cooking when he started talking about the Rouse's cheeses, Colby Jack and Swiss.
They
and-
say you do best when you speak about what you know. Okay,
Cheese.
and
American,
and look,
just American cheese.
grocery store cheese, man. I know it. Like y'all,
my
I'm not
wheelhouse.
I'm not like y'all where I'm ordering from like wholesale suppliers from the restaurant. I mean, just like if it's in a bag and it's
And it zips back
it's
up,
zipped
you're
back.
in.
Resealable's key. I don't get that shit that's not resealable. I don't.
Do you get? I
don't
can
get
see
that block
Corey's like
cheese,
pre-shredded.
you know?
Yeah.
Exactly. That's Corey's.
I'll have
wheelhouse.
some of that red Leicester.
Exactly. Oh man, you were going somewhere with that, Max, right?
No, I was just making fun of you. But back to what I was asking now.
Well,
So we're
we know
talking
that.
about restaurants and all that. Where have you guys been this trip?
We went to on Friday night. We went to Superior Seafood
Yeah,
Grill on St Charles.
yeah, and that was mainly because we were in that vicinity because we'd seen a friend and they were due to come with us, but they were not in great health at the time. So it was just that was convenient for us, but we enjoyed it there. It was good. wasn't it?
Chargrilled
Chargrilled
oysters were
oysters,
great.
yeah.
I had the gumbo. Gumbo's good.
Superior is good. It's a good spot, just like it's easy. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a fun spot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so you get people in there just on the piano, and he's got a good atmosphere
It's a
and
big
just
space.
lively. It was good.
But yeah, and they did Juvie Juice in there as well, which was
Really? Nice.
a bonus.
Juvie Juice or Juicifer?
No, Juvie Juice. Don't you remember we had Juvie Juice there?
I didn't have Juvie Juice there.
You bloody did.
I fucking didn't.
One of the best
All right.
cans ever made.
Yeah, yeah. The design on the
I've
juice
been
was
able to
good.
find Juvie Juice since I've been back.
It was there. Anyway, we're going to move on. Were you that pissed?
What are you talking about? We had Juicifer.
It was Juvie Juice. All right, anyway.
I love this debate.
Excuse me. Two Brits arguing over alcohol. What a
We're
surprise.
like clip that one.
Which alcohol got us fucked up? Yeah.
So
That was
today,
yeah.
we had red beans today.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, Monday.
The
Right, you're here
tradition.
Monday. Yeah.
So what's that place called we went?
Where'd you get them from?
Frankie and Johnny.
Frankie and Johnny's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
And yeah, again, this was the whiz round that our friend brought us on. We went to.
That was part of the bar crawl.
That was
wasn't
part
it?
of her. Here, I'm going to show you some dive bars.
Sounds like you went to some good
She met us
spots.
at Fat Harry's and
Yeah.
said, "Get in the car.
Yeah,
We're going out."
yeah.
Nice.
So
nice.
yeah, so we did a little bar crawl prior to coming on here. Dan obviously was very happy because he got his red beans.
And we got a cup of gumbo as well.
Nice.
Good.
Yeah.
So, what were your thoughts on the red beans at Frankie and Johnny's?
I know,
You've
good.
seen all. I know you've seen all the Hold the Mayo videos.
I mean, I
and-
didn't get a pork chop or a fried chicken or anything on it. It was just,
So it was really
just
just
the
a
beans
bowl?
with the sausage.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you know what I'll tell you the best thing I've had since I've been here this time?
What you got?
A fucking chicken crackling at
Oh,
French
yeah,
Quarter Fest.
yeah.
That was banging.
That was good.
I kept hearing about chicken.
Unreal.
You didn't try it?
No, chicken crackling.
yeah.
It's the
How
fries.
do you even go? Like
Skin.
just the chicken skin?
Skin.
Like,
No, it's
I mean, how do you
It
even
feels
go
like
about
there's a
doing
little
that?
bit of meat on there as well. And I
yeah.
don't know.
It's basically little pieces of chicken. It's just the fatty pieces they
So,
fried up.
is it kind of like the crawfish bread people at Jazz Fest? Nobody knows who does it, or is it a restaurant that does it?
I know there was all
We
restaurants.
sell it.
Got it.
So I'm not sure if anyone's actually making their own or if they're buying it from the bigger purveyors. But,
It wasn't coming from like a restaurant booth. It was just out
It
there.
may have been. It may. I don't know.
Okay,
It was delicious.
sure.
So
Yeah.
it was funny. We showed up and we ran
I'm just
into
wondering if
them,
I can get it.
and they started talking about it, and they said, "Hey, chicken cracklings yesterday were banging." So I said, "All right, I'm gonna go find them." We found them. I got 2 orders. They were incredible.
Because I know you know crackling. If there's an authority on crackling,
I mean,
Max.
we love a crackling. We pork crackling in the UK. It's the hard. It's
Yeah.
not like.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's much more crunchier.
I
But
passed through crackling country this morning on the way to my court hearing.
Did you stop at Best Stop?
I didn't have time.
You make time next time you're going.
But actually, no, I wasn't taking I-10. I went Highway 90 to New Iberia.
I mean, even I've got best stop seasoning at home in the UK.
Yeah, I did. So I used that at Hawks for the cause for my greens, for the wildest greens.
I'm gonna need that recipe.
Yeah, I'll give it to you. Easy.
Oh, it was a good dish.
Do you know,
Good
we
dish.
went Turkey and the Wolf today for brunch.
Oh, nice.
The collard green sandwich that was great.
That was really good.
Nice
That was really
bit of
good.
heat to that as well. It's like eating a Reuben but without meat. It was just like
Yeah. Like a good collard greens, you got to like put the heat on it.
yeah. Steve got the bologna sandwich. He's like
Oh,
he-
that-
The bologna sandwich is banging.
Yeah, that's their like
Yeah,
signature.
that is good.
That's what kind of put it, one of the things that put them on the map. It was like, wait, bologna sandwich.
Well, it's basically elevated stoner food.
Yeah.
Is the
Yes.
best way to
No,
describe
exactly,
it.
exactly.
I mean, the crinkle
Didn't
cut
he
fries.
get a
were
beer
good.
nomination for Turkey?
He did.
And then again at Molly's? Or no? I thought he got one
I don't
last
know if
year.
Molly's
I think
got
it was
one.
for turkey. I don't know about Molly.
Definitely got one for turkey.
last
They're
year.
opening a 3rd spot.
Where?
Well, they have Hungry Guys already.
No, they're
magazine.
opening a 4th spot.
Yeah.
It's gonna be. Alex just told me about. It's gonna be a cafeteria style thing
Oh my
That's
god.
his
called
vibe.
hot stuff.
Yeah, that should work.
Hungry Guys is good. Lizzie and I went there for, I don't know if it's my birthday, some kind of special occasion, but we sat at the bar. It's like totally 80s theme. I mean, you walk in and you think just the way they have the lighting, the neons behind the bar.
Oh, it's awesome.
You feel transported into an 80s music video.
Well, let's see this.
It's crazy.
So, Hungry Eyes. Does that mean anything to you from an '80s movie song standpoint?
Hungry.
There we go. Perfect. So he knows it. So basically, what you would picture in your head,
Yeah.
the place would look like. That's what it looks like.
And
It's
that-
awesome.
that-
It's a
but
cool
that's-
spot.
It's playful food, isn't it?
Yeah, it comes up
Turkey
like
Wolf.
it
Playful
comes up
food,
on
that's what it
McDonald's
feels
plates.
like.
And I-
It's like, it's just
Yeah.
My favorite thing from there, I don't know if they still do it. I think they may have taken it off the menu. Was the everything bagel salad?
I don't know.
they didn't have that because I would
Yeah,
have
because that thing. Oh
mean,
man, it was so
like-
good. It's basically just like a wedge salad setup, but they just dump everything bagel seasoning on it, tons of bacon,
Yeah.
the grape tomatoes.
I mean, I like the fact that Mason was in there because
Oh, he was there, nice.
We don't get
Yeah.
that in the UK. Like you go into a restaurant,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
not going to see the guy who's running shit.
Really?
It's probably very different here, Max.
We're kind of used to that, but
You guys would love him. Like, we've had drinks with him multiple times. He's cool as fuck, the most down-to-earth person, and just loves to have a good time. And you can see it with the menus at all of his restaurants. They're all very playful, just, unique spins on old classic dishes. So, real cool guy, cool concepts, love his restaurants.
I said to when we was in, I said, it's almost like the sandwiches you used to have as a kid.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
Yeah.
We don't have bologna. Well, we have bologna, but we call it spam.
Well,
Yeah.
So it'd be a spam sandwich for us, which is what we had when we was kids in the 80s. So
and
Yeah, it's almost like I look at it when Nick and I lived together in college, like shit when you were drunk as fuck that you would just throw together at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
That's the menu.
Yeah.
And it's awesome.
Yeah, like when I was in college at Georgia, my parents would still have like the survival kit my parents sent me with. So like
Ramen noodles?
No, like Zataran's jambalaya in a box, like that my parents said. I would buy the ramen noodles, but like my parents would get the Zatarans, the Blue Runner in a can, and so we're drunk out of food, and I'm just like, I know how to make it just because when I get home from when I get home at night from in high school or whatever. It's how easy is it just open up a can of Blue Runner, throw a bunch of seasoning in it, and make red beans and rice, or like jambalaya, from Zataran. It's fucking easy as hell.
Yeah.
But these Georgia kids are like never had it, and they're just like, oh my god.
Well, it's fucking Georgia.
What did you just
expect?
make?
I know that's what I'm
just
getting.
sitting
That's what I'm getting.
It's
to.
just eating peaches out of a can.
Exactly.
He's telling you
They
how he
were
got all
put
his
there.
girlfriends at Georgia.
Yeah, they were like, hey, you want
Wait, he had some?
Come in the kitchen. Look what I'm making here.
Look at these beans.
Hey.
This is artisan food. As the
Yeah,
box is
and
stacked away.
I picked up a Georgia accent when I was there. It's like, you want some of them red beans? But
I think of you whenever I come through Atlanta.
yeah, that's good then. Yeah, I got some peeps in Atlanta.
It's a shame.
Don't claim them.
Well, I mean, most of them are not Falcons fans actually, because like I did learn pretty quickly that half the guys, all they care about is Braves and NASCAR. Because I remember getting in there freshman year and I'm like, oh, we're gonna have problems, guys. Like, I'm a Saints fan, y'all are Falcons fans. They're like, we don't give a shit about the Falcons.
Yeah, that's true.
Like half of them are like, we don't care.
No, my cousin lives in Atlanta, and I've got a lot of family in Georgia, and no one gives a fuck
Yeah,
about the
it was
Falcons.
crazy. It was crazy. Well, cool. So I do want to shift to it. So we've talked a little bit about it. We probably have a good bit of overlap in listeners, right? But for those who don't overlap, y'all's podcast, Saint City and Me. Mm-hmm. Max and I listen. Nick, you've heard a couple episodes. We fucking love it. Actually, I'm kind of behind, but I just listened to the one with St. John Butler. That was a great episode. A lot of good insight. So, like, for those who don't know, like, tell us how. This might be a loaded question. How did that come about? Max might have some.
And actually, before you guys start, I just want to say, like, my wife loves it and says you guys need to be doing more of what they're doing when it comes to interviewing people.
I tell you that.
I think she was critiquing you more than
No, I like the story. I like the stories.
She's very complimentary about how you guys, I guess, lead the conversation and interact with your guest. And, we're all big fans, but just wanted to say that before you guys started.
on that point, we, like, to be fair, we do our research, which, and quite a few guests, when we sort of spoke to and post the podcast, have been impressed by the amount of research. That's because Dan's a stalker, if I'm absolutely honest. It's
a good skill to have.
It's like literally, it's like Dan will just find
on Max's Instagram,
I'm worried,
deep on his Twitter.
I'm worried what Dan's found out
Sleeping
about
on
me,
his front
to be
porch.
perfectly honest.
Just googling like interviews with Max and like Jeff
Dude,
Duncan interview and
y'all brought up a question about a cocktail that we had at Root, and it blew my fucking mind. I was like, "Oh my, wait a minute! Yeah, we had that. Hold on, shit, I got to think about what was
that
it."
cocktail sounded fucking amazing.
It did.
Every one of them there was incredible. I wish y'all could have had. But it was great. It was good.
The genesis of the pod came from Dan, to be perfectly honest. It's like myself and Dan have only known each other 4 years. We met via Twitter. We were both in the Saints WhatsApp group that Steve spoke about earlier. We were both in there. Dan left it because Dan's got an ability to talk
I'm too
out
big
people.
now.
You're in and out.
Y'all can't fit me.
You're in and out of these.
He left it many years ago because he had a bit of a falling out with someone, which was warranted, but Dan's a bit fruity like that. So we were in there, but we didn't even know each other, and I think we've spoken about on our pod that we were both over here for the NFC Championship game. That was our first game ever over here, but we were both here, but we didn't actually know each other. But not long after that,
We're talking Rams.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about it. I mean, we often
we
bring it
can
up
if you
and
want
never
to,
talk
but we
about
don't really
it.
want
No.
Talk about the atmosphere, but yeah.
Yeah. And it was, that was wonderful. That was a birthday, Christmas present, to me from my wife. And I think you decided, Dan, didn't you, like 3 days
It was
before?
a similar story to Steve. I on the Monday morning after we beat the Eagles, I was going to meet with my auditor for work, and she was from Philadelphia, and she was just talking about how they was gonna she was like, I don't even know what they're gonna do to the town. They burnt shit up when we won the Super Bowl, so God knows what it's like. And she was going, it's so hard to get to the championship game. And I was sitting there, I was thinking, I'm just gonna have a look. And I went back to my desk at work, and I was like, okay, I can get tickets for like $350. I'll pay that.
Yep.
Is there flights? Yes. We'll worry about a hotel later.
Yeah.
And that was on the Monday. On the Tuesday, I convinced my brother-in-law to come with me. On the Wednesday, I booked the flights. On the Friday, I flew out.
That's amazing.
You
So
kind of like.
not quite as quick as
3 days.
I was about to say, you kind of like half Steve.
Steve's up 3 days. That's a lifetime.
longer.
I could plan a trip to Disney and Hawaii and Japan in that.
You pulled
time.
a half Steve.
Yeah.
Half Steve. That's what we call it, half Steve. So yeah, we came. Like, that was again. It was like just out here and just fell in love, really.
But then, obviously, we came to that game, and then it was Hot 8 Brass Band. We're playing a gig in London. Both of myself and Dan know a guy called Mark Daly, who we've had on our post, who's at Pod, who's an Australian who lives in London.
Follower.
We
of,
both
the
sort
pod.
of knew him, but we didn't know each other. You and Mark were going to the Hot 8 Brass Band gig in London. I had a ticket, and I just asked, would you mind if I tagged along?
You said room for one more.
Yeah. I was trying to make it less camp.
Well, it was camp.
I know.
Is this a private party or can
Yeah.
anyone come?
So literally went
Fancy if I
there,
invite myself.
had a great night, and then we just really got on, and we were like, right, we're going to the city this year. We're going to do that. 2 weeks later, I think in the UK we had the lockdown.
February 20th.
Yeah.
21st. It was like 2 days before my birthday.
Yeah.
Sounded like y'all's lockdown during COVID was a lot more serious than ours. I mean,
Not for the government. They were having parties.
Right.
It was all told to stay home.
Well, we were injecting ourselves with bleach and kind of wondering when the COVID was going to go away.
Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
Look,
But,
the biggest inconvenience for me was I wasn't able to travel, and that sounds like a really shitty thing to say, but it was like something we live for.
I think y'all move around a lot more.
So I was supposed to be 40. I was supposed to be 40.
Yeah.
I was 40
But
in
COVID took 12 years off your life,
2021.
so you're only 28 now.
Yeah.
And Mardi Gras Day was 2 days before my birthday of the year, so it was on 21st.
Yeah.
We had flights. We was coming out. We were standing at Eliza Jane. It was like, I was so excited about it, and then
Can't.
nothing.
Man, that's tough.
And the same happened with my wife the year before. We were supposed to go to New York for her 40th. 2 weeks before we were supposed to fly, they was like, nope, no one's coming in. Borders are shut. Broadway's shut. You're not doing anything.
This is making me... Because Lizzie and I have talked about coming over to the UK for my 40th, which will be not this summer, but the next.
You're not 40.
Not yet.
He looks it, but he's not.
Max always says I'm younger than I look, which is a great compliment. Right? Isn't that how you say it?
I'm trying to work
I've listened to
not
the
a
podcast.
compliment, by the way.
He's not-
It's not-
No,
it's
I
not-
say that facetiously. I say that facetiously because Max likes it, you know. But anyway, I'm thinking about changing those plans because like 40th didn't work, and I don't know, maybe I
I
should
think
plan
we're
for
okay
like
now,
my
like-
my
Wait, you're not going to
39th.
be 50? You're going to be 40?
That's true.
God damn.
Believe it or not.
Aging in dog years.
Thanks.
Jesus.
Got that dog in him.
I'm
that's
trying.
why.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. I like that one.
Georgia.
Dog, go,
Yeah, there you go. Look, throw your bone there.
Man, how many, you were just that was like a
Well done, mate.
triple pun.
Corey, you're
Yeah.
getting buried, dude.
Whatever it is. I don't care. We're having fun.
Swiftly moving on from
We're
your
having
age.
fun. Yeah, swiftly moving on.
Yeah.
Let's start
Yes.
over.
Yeah, no, we're good.
In terms of the podcast,
Yeah.
we started it after Jazz Fest, didn't we? Came for last year. And
Yeah.
I'd been trying to put it together for a while, and it had various different names. And I was saying we should just talk to fans because no one does it. Like no one talks to fans. You know, there's a market for podcasts, and people are very insular in what they do. And
Sure.
it's like, but, you know, let's give people an opportunity to talk about their fandom because
Yeah.
you know we'd that meet up in Jazz Fest was the draft meetup. We met Max for the first time. We met Corey, and it was like, do you know, we're meeting these people who,
Yeah.
you know, people know who they are as fans. And
Yeah.
maybe we should give a voice to those international fans because they, you know, sitting with a super fan, Max, to be fair, you are a super fan. Like
We've disclosed his identity before, that he's that he's Darsink. He doesn't like to announce it himself, but I will say at Darsink.
Like we see all these super fans in the dome, but it's not. I'm not saying it's super fans, but you've got these dedicated fans in Europe who stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning to watch a game. Not staying for that fucking Rams game this year, like on a Thursday night at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing watching this game? But
he was at the game. Imagine him saying that. He's like, what the fuck am I doing?
I walked in, I'm like, we lost.
I'm assuming
why are you so negative? I'm like, this one's over. I just
I'm
looked at
assuming
this
you had
place.
some more days of vacation.
They're still singing the
to
national
sort of take
anthem. It's
off
like,
that.
nah, just...
Yeah, exactly. So
Just take off the next day.
That, it takes away a little bit of the brunt. But anyway, but Dan was the driving force. We spoke about doing, and I was always, when someone says yes, but in the back of their sort of head, they're thinking, no fucking way am I doing that.
I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea.
Yeah. I never
Looks
even
like
considered it. I
Kimberly.
just think Dan was a little bit more sort of purposeful about the whole thing, and genuinely,
I dropped the trailer for it.
exactly.
So
He
you've got to do
forced
it now.
me
I've
into
done a
it.
trailer.
Because
It's your face on the...
but because I used to have a massive problem, and I actually had to go and get some therapy about it, where I would be talking to somebody and telling them, yeah, I'll do that, and I could hear a voice in the back of my head going, "You're never
I'm
gonna
not doing
fucking
that."
do that." Literally,
Is that
so-
like the British thing where someone goes, do you fancy doing this? Go, yeah, I might do. If we say that, we ain't coming.
Yeah, come on.
There's a famous
literally-
line I have with my wife,
Yeah.
which is like, I'll think about it.
That's a no.
Just
I'm
say
not
no.
coming.
Yeah. Just say no.
Yeah, and so and then Dan, because I kept saying yes to him, and this voice in the back of my head was like, "You're never fucking doing that." Mate. Dan just dropped a YouTube video, which was like, "This is what we're going to do," and at that point, I thought, "All right, I'm going to have to do it."
But
now.
you know the impetus was as well.
no.
I then set up a Twitter account, an Instagram account.
Yeah.
I tweeted out that we were starting it, and within an hour between it, Ross Jackson retweeted it and he said, "This is going to be great."
Yeah.
And I didn't know Ross at the time. Mike had limited interactions with him on Twitter, and he's like, "If Ross Jackson's saying do it, then let's just
we got to do it.
Yeah.
And it is. I mean, the product is incredible. No one else is doing it the way y'all do it. It's amazing.
It's probably my favorite podcast.
Well, it's because it's like, look,
And
it's
he
amazing.
has a podcast, everybody.
Y'all found
doesn't get off his own supply.
Well, no, listen, like y'all found the niche that Saints fans didn't know they needed, which is it's Saints related, but it's not just 100% news, opinion. Nick, you suck. Max, you suck. Corey, you suck. It's literally just like, hey, it's Saints related, but we want to find out what our friend in New Zealand thinks about this.
Yeah.
That's what I like about it. I like
it-
hearing what people around the world think about
Exactly.
this city.
So
in
you're
addition to the
still
team.
on your Saints wavelength, even
Yeah.
in season, when you don't want to come, because you don't want to come off your Saints wavelength completely. So you get to stay on that wave, but not get so stressed out and bogged down with like, well, what the fuck did Derek Carr do this week?
I think
you just-
Curry is the one who has the record. Would I be right in saying this, for the most amount of time that we've spoken about the Saints in an episode? Because
when I was a
normally we
guest.
start off with like, I suppose we ought to talk about them because obviously recently it's just
You say
it's
with
just
such
shit.
disdain.
Yeah, and
I
it is.
suppose
It's
that's
literally
what
like-
Saints.
It was like 45 minutes,
Let's
but-
get this shit out of the
Was
way and
it-
get on to the other stuff.
during the season.
Also, like when Max came on, it was before the season started, so
Yeah.
it wasn't really a lot to talk
I
about.
think there
It
was a lot going on at the time.
Yeah,
He was
I think-
very
I think-
optimistic at the time, though.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
Oh,
all
God.
was. Yeah, that was when we was doing our projections, and Max was like, "Yeah, we're gonna."
If y'all go back and
18-0, we win the Super Bowl.
If you listen to our
I don't see how we don't
For
win
the
Super Bowl.
record, that's been 45 years of my life, I guess. Yeah, so.
But if you
You
listen
don't always
to
say
the
undefeated,
very first 28-3 podcast episode, I mean, the way we talked about Derek Carr,
Yeah.
I can't even listen. I was putting together the 1 year highlight chop up,
Which was
and
absolutely
I was
brilliant,
like,
by the
we're
way.
doing the intro, episode 1, and the end, and then we're moving on.
Yeah, but then everybody was like, and I think you guys had Jono on, which was a great episode, and like,
John was great.
yeah, we had so much fun.
Shout out
and
John.
the way that he spoke about it, which was like, we should take some of the blame because we do it every year, and I think
Yeah.
we're probably going to do it this year because
Yeah,
Kubiak's
to
in there.
expect
And,
no
yeah,
check back after that 15-year run is
It's not
that's
that
true
bad.
fandom
Yeah.
because that's what happens when you lose Drew Brees and you lose Peyton and all those things happen and we still expect the same 13-3, 13-4 now whatever season.
Yeah, and let me say this. He's sitting next to me, and I'm going to give him a shout-out for this because Nick has been ahead of the curve when it comes to when Breeze is gone.
Yeah.
all of these motherfuckers are going to be eating their words because they're sitting here talking about he can't throw deep, he can't do that. And he was right, because now everybody is back. Oh, it's the dark ages, it's the bags on the head. It's not, we're not there.
No.
That phenomenon was weird to me.
Well,
We're not throwing deep.
We're
He's
not
also,
there.
He's
We're also in a
completing
time-
74% of his passes.
Yeah.
Has 4 turnovers this year.
I was
with
with
a
you
third-ranked
on-
offense,
yeah.
but he sucks. You know?
I was with you on that.
It was
I didn't
so
buy into
weird to me.
But I think also one of the issues we talked about it is that like so much of our fan base right now is because of
new
their
fans,
age,
bro.
because they're either new fans or their age. They don't remember what
Well, they've
really
never seen a
actually
dark
bad. I
period.
do before
Like-
you say that the core.
No, I'm not going to. I know you
But
did.
like they don't remember like truly bad times.
Well, they never saw it. They just,
That's what I
yeah.
mean, like, can't.
Right.
Not even not remember it,
I
they
mean,
just
even,
didn't see
even
it.
for us, like bad times since we become fans were like the 7 and 9.
Exactly.
3 in a row,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah.
we have an appreciation for what come before, because I think as part of our fandom is learning more about the team, because
Sure.
we're not here.
Yeah.
You delve into it, so you didn't experience it, but you look and go, that was
So
bad.
bad.
Bleak.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
miserable.
No, I will say like 7 and 9 when we had Peyton and Breeze felt pretty rough, almost to a like when we went 3 and 13 with Haslett's last year. Like we weren't expecting anything out of that Katrina.
Oh, it's Katrina.
Like
yeah.
the losses were terrible, or even like Ditka's last year. Like
The difference, Corey,
we
is
weren't
we were still
expecting-
fun. We were still fun.
was still fun.
That's the
So-
whole point.
Right.
So it lightened it a little.
Yeah, you,
bit.
you can get away with a lot. I mean, not in a horrid way. Yet again, refer to sort of soccer. There are periods of time where Dan's team, Tottenham, play really good football, but they are still shit.
Yeah.
But you
Always
you
at
get-
the last minute. It's
No,
just
no,
like
no.
It's combat, and then little
No,
jab in the
but-
kidneys.
this
But you-
weekend's a good
making sure
example.
the
But it
video
is,
got
so
Dan's
you
face
let
there.
you let a team get away with far more if they're entertaining.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, like from a manager point of view,
Yeah.
do you know what? We're not winning, but
We're fun
I
as shit to
enjoy
watch.
watching
Yeah.
it.
And
Like,
you had a manager a couple of years ago where you were sort of winning, but you were dour
then
as
they
hell.
brought in managers who were
Yeah.
bland.
Wait, was Dennis Allen your manager?
Pochettino, right? That was a good little
Pochettino
run.
was good, and then
Yeah.
they bring in
Nick knows.
Mourinho and
Conte.
and it's bland
Yeah.
football. And if you're not winning, people don't enjoy it. And it's a little bit where we are now. It's like it's bland football.
Yeah, it's just if you're not going to win, and quite often, yet again, I think it's a sort of state of mind thing with people who have grown up with soccer as well. We're just not as down on Saints as a lot of American Saints
Yeah.
fans are.
Yeah.
We got a different
Yeah, but it's,
perspective.
like,
on
we
it.
look at it like if we're shit, we're gonna get a really good draft pick.
Yeah.
So there's a little
Little bonus for sucking.
Mitzel in there. There you go.
Is there any
Yeah.
equivalent of that in
No.
You
the
get
UK?
relegated, you go down. You get
Yeah,
fucked.
and that's the other. Yeah, again.
So
the
when you're
systems are
shit,
so
you get
different.
more
So if
shit.
you're shit,
Yeah.
if you're shit in the NFL,
You get
you end
rewarded.
up playing in the new league, whatever it is, UFSL or whatever.
But I
it's
mean, like-
UFL.
How do y'all feel in relegation? We talk about this all the time. I think it would be awesome. if
It's,
the
but
NFL
I think
I
it's
would hate it
fantastic.
'cause we
You
could-
could
we
two,
would
you could
fantastic.
2-tier the NFL.
Yes.
and
We'd be the
do
first
it.
team to get relegated if it ever happened. It would just be like Saints luck,
No, we
Saints
wouldn't.
karma.
No,
No, we
first team
wouldn't.
Saints
relegated.
You sound like one of these fucking millennial Saints
Yeah.
fans.
Look
They've
around.
only seen 7 and
Open
9.
your eyes. Did you watch Carolina this year?
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying that's not a value-based perspective. I just mean
We had
like
a
from
winning record this year.
Exactly.
that's
yeah.
not a merit-based opinion. I'm
Yeah.
just saying our luck would be that.
You could have stopped
Shit
with it's
wouldn't
not a
happen.
merit-based
That's fair.
opinion.
That's fair.
Winning record issue. We may not hate.
Yeah, exactly.
We may not like the head coach, but we had a winning record,
No, no,
and
I'm-
also.
And for the
it was
record,
snip-
none of us like the head
The
coach.
me
last
just-
regular
none of us
season,
like
you were
I'm not
playing
saying-
to go to the
listen,
playoffs.
exactly.
It's
Yeah.
not
Nothing
that
about
bad.
what
Yeah.
actually happened on the field means we deserve relegation, nor do I think this season would be anything close to what would be relegation. I'm just saying, dumb shit, Saints luck, half the roster gets injured, whatever, just because they decided to do relegation.
This is the
year.
Corey's triggered part of the episode.
I know.
Wait, this isn't even close.
Okay, you owe me money because I'm the under-over.
No, this isn't even close. That was like a quarter of Lorenzo Neal right there. But anyway,
I didn't think you get that triggered about soccer. No, I
Nah.
really didn't.
I've been relishing the moment to say this, but swiftly moving on.
Hold on. Before we go far, I do want to say the one
And you thought you guys did research, huh?
one thing I do
Been
want
waiting for that moment. Talk about over under.
One thing I do want to shout out to you guys. It's amazing to me that you guys have only known each other for 4 years, you said. Because your chemistry is off the charts. Like, it feels like you guys have been best friends for 30 years.
Yeah. And yet again, the one of our friends that we saw on Friday, who yet again we'd interviewed her on the pod. And we were chatting away to her, and again, she was just sort of asking a bit more background about myself and Dan. And we said about the fact that we'd only known each other 4 years, and she was exactly the same. She was like, I just cannot believe it. And
It's mind blowing.
And I can't believe it. And I know this cunt. Oh, I've done this.
No, it's good. We're not.
All right,
we don't edit anything.
This
You're
is
good.
an apology from a British man saying,
Double down.
Can't believe it.
Don't back up.
No, look, we knew what we were getting when we brought you on.
But
It's all good.
it's funny though because I've known Corey now for
Since like
probably
2012
years.
2009.
you don't even like him, do
And
you?
they still hate each
No.
other. Yeah, weird.
No,
Yeah.
Corey's basically my little brother.
Yeah,
He
it's
just
like
doesn't
brother.
know what he's talking about. So we correct him.
Let's correct that. So you think Corey's your little
you're
brother,
the-
and he doesn't appreciate it.
And you're the old, and you're the old man losing his mind half the time. It's fine.
You know he's older than me, though, right?
It doesn't matter.
He doesn't treat me like that.
Yeah. But I mean, it's
No, but going back to what I was saying, their chemistry is off the charts.
Yeah.
It shines through in every episode of the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
And just hanging out with you guys when we're here right now. Like the chemistry is there.
When we all do make it out there, we're forcing Max to go to a soccer match, football match, a true football.
No,
match.
I really do want to go to one because
No, I do. I want to go.
Because I've told him about. I've went to a World Cup. I've seen a bunch of different and I try and explain it to him. And we here think we are these crazy fans. I'm like, you haven't seen shit, really. It's incredible watching, especially international football. Watching that, I followed the Dutch around in 2010. South Africa.
The Dutch fans are.
Holy crap!
They are nuts.
It's incredible. So I want him to see
You think
it.
Max uses a lot of paint? Those
Yeah.
Dutch guys, they're like foot to toe.
Foot to
orange
toe,
paint.
orange. Everyone's orange.
I just want to see it. You know, like having been through a few SEC games, the
I
Saints
mean,
games.
we talk about it. It's like
You're talking about it with
probably-
John, with Butler. Like,
Yeah,
what
like the
he
closest
asked
thing
y'all,
here
what-
is
yeah.
probably college football in terms of the
Right,
fanaticism,
the insanity, right?
Yeah, like you've got obviously the bands for college football. Like,
Yeah.
we don't have bands, but we sing. Like,
Right.
the fans will sing
I
songs.
think if
they'll
a
make up
band
songs.
ever
I
walked
think
onto
if
the
he saw
pitch at a Premier League game, y'all would be like, "Get the fuck out of here!"
Well,
Like,
no,
we're
to-
ready. We're
to
ready
your
for some
point,
football.
I would be all about it.
Max would
because
love it. I
I
know he would
love
love it.
college football.
And he would
doesn't-
love the vibe
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
He doesn't
would-
watch
yeah,
it.
you
He's
would
not
like
into
it. You would like
He
it.
would absolutely love it, and I just want him to see it because we have these debates about the sport itself all the time, and I'm like, you don't understand. And I get if you don't watch the sport, maybe you don't understand it, and it's maybe a more difficult sport to kind of get into if you're just a peripheral fan here, but the experience is right up his alley and would absolutely love it. And then next you'll be doing a podcast about a Premier League team.
Let's do it, man. Let's go.
I was gonna say if there was a line, a betting
Book the
line
trip.
on like what did Max's eyes look at more, the pitch or the stands, I would go stands.
To be
100%.
fair, I've got friends when I had my season ticket at Tottenham who would spend the whole game just staring at the away fans and singing at the away fans and chanting at the away fans.
It's not even watching the game.
Because it was more about
and that's
the
all
rivalry.
him. That's
Yeah.
what he wants to do.
That would be
he
Max,
yells at
yeah.
the kicker and punters all game long, all game.
They moved them. They moved the punter. So our seats, just to paint the picture properly, are front row on about the 20-yard line, visitor sideline. So the punter, the net that he is punting into the entire game, practicing, keeping warm, is 8 feet, not even 5 feet in front of my seats. And me and Raybot are yelling at him.
Now, who's Raybot, real quick?
Sits next to me. He's got the Halo costume,
We know
Transformers,
how
all
to
that
play,
stuff.
yeah.
So
We've seen Max on the telly with him next to him.
Yeah, we all know.
We send
So
photos
we-
of Max.
we
see him.
We yell at the punter, and this was probably 4 or 5 years ago. We're yelling at the punter so much, so the punter goes to security to try to get us thrown out. Security looks at us, looks at him, and goes, "No, he's cool. You got to deal with it."
He's been here a while.
So the next thing we know, the punter's net is moved for the next game. It has not been 5 feet in front of us anymore. Now it's like 10 feet away from us.
So you just yell at her.
Yeah.
I would love it if the security guy turned back
I mean,
around.
you've sat next to me at the
Okay,
game.
I've seen it. They're still really close. I mean,
They're still close.
compared to where
not as close as they used to be.
Well, they're closer to you than where I usually get my tickets. Put it that way. But I will say, I wonder if the security guy turned around to the punter and was like, "May I remind you, sir, that you are the punter."
He should have.
Wait, punters matter. Punters matter.
Yeah. Well, shout out Thomas.
Shout out Thomas Morstead.
If anyone told Morstead that, I would fight him, right? But
I tell Morstead all the time when I DM him on Instagram. He never replies.
nah.
He does sometimes.
Oh, he does.
He
does.
does. He's a really good guy.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah. So I've already hit up. What have I said? Swiftly moving on. What was the other one I said?
What's my checklist?
Can I hit you with the? So you got the yeah.
Yet again. No, but there is one thing I'm gonna throw y'all's words back at you. Saint City Me podcast. Y'all ask all of your guests the same thing every episode. Was it the Saints or the City? And I don't know if the question has been posed to y'all. Maybe it has, and I haven't picked up on it. But we'll go one by one here. Dan, for you, was it the Saints or the City?
Oh, for me, it was the Saints. I think I spoke about it before briefly. It's like I followed the NFL, didn't have a team, and for me, it's like, I don't want to just jump on a bandwagon. I don't want to be like, I'm just going to support the Patriots because. And the irony is, a lot of UK fans go, "Oh yeah, it's New England, so I'm going to support them because it's England." I'm like, it's the Patriots. You're missing the irony there. But yeah, so my wife has said, "No, we like going to New York. Why don't you be a New York Giants fan or a Jets fan?" I was like, I don't really want to follow that. And then we was coming back from the US on a trip. I can't remember. It's either 2006 or 2007. I can never remember. But I just grabbed a magazine at the airport, and it was talking about signing Drew. It was talking about drafting Reggie. It was talking about Sean coming in, the rebirth of the city, everything after Katrina. Yeah. And just like it was an underdog story for a start. This team are awful historically, and I was like, you know what? That sounds like a bit.
Sounds
of me.
like Tottenham, baby.
Sounds
Let's
like
go.
Tottenham for me. But there was a part. I was like, do you know what? No one will ever be able to say to me, "You're a glory hunter. You chased titles. You chased championships. And then I was thinking about New Orleans. I was like, these are like really tenuous. But it's like growing up watching X-Men topical. The X-Men cartoon series Gambit was my favourite. Raging Cajun.
Max,
love
they know
film,
about these
like
guys.
Candyman 2 when I was younger. it was based here. It's like love the food. Like, I love American food, and like you think about Southern food. And I was just like, do you know what? This is one. So I got home, ordered a Reggie Bush jersey, and that was me done.
There you go. Is that first jersey? Is Reggie?
Reggie Bush, my first jersey. It's the old style mesh one. I fucking ironed it. Melted the shit.
So have the
It
numbers
weighs like 6 pounds.
Yeah.
Have the numbers turned brown?
Faded.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Someone gave me
I got Deuce, the same one.
A friend of ours, Josh, who lives over in Mississippi. He got me a signed Juice McAllister jersey, a Puma Juice McAllister jersey. Numbers are perfect.
Really?
It's just like, how is that not faded?
Thanks, Reebok.
And the Reebok one's like, no, it's crap.
Yeah. And Nike's just like, oh, we got kids for that. We're fine.
Yeah, I want to get like one of the old Adidas ones or something like that. Oh, no, they do have a champion jersey at one point.
Yeah, they were champion for
one
a
of them.
while.
That's
I
what I
think.
need.
Yeah.
I also want a
The
Voodoo.
champion ones are.
Yeah.
Of who?
I also want a New Orleans Voodoo jersey.
Voodoo.
I've
Old
been
Voodoo jersey?
saying
Those would be
that,
fun,
despite my millions of followers on Twitter, I've said it multiple times that the Saints' next throwback should be.
That's his OnlyFans, not his Twitter.
Yeah, sorry.
Instead of getting them ring lights in. Actually, I lied, right? Let me tell you. Do you know what jersey I want? I want a Jesuit high school fullback jersey. That's what I want.
I got you.
The old
I got
mall.
you.
Yeah, that's what I need.
I got one.
Come out! I have seen.
I got one.
I have seen.
Is it
that
mall or
one.
C-mall on the back?
We didn't have names.
There's
on the
no
back.
names on it. Yeah.
You got to get that on.
We're humble at Jesuit High School.
Yeah,
Come on.
sure we are. Yeah. All those personal injury attorneys you're talking about, that's all Jesuit guys.
Where there's Blaine,
That's
there's
why
a Jesuit high school fullback tackle.
My profession is defending against them. They saw pictures of that on my rehearsal dinner. I think I got some hashtag TBTs on my Instagram profile if y'all check that out too. But just
Wait, what number were you again?
31.
31. That's right.
Yeah, please.
Jabari Greer.
Corey Mole, Jesuit High School, FP1.
There's only one. There's only 131.
Please, don't compare me.
My
I lost train of thought there.
my story is a little
happens.
bit different. I was a fan of NFL for a long time, but not a massive sort of fan. In Europe we had the league over there. I went to see the London Monarchs. I then didn't. I'd always watched Super Bowl, but I wasn't actually really into the game as much. And it was probably about 14 years ago, maybe 12 years. Oh my.
If anyone's wondering why there's a pregnant pause in the room,
Have you got that letter jacket?
Max is showing everybody. Hold it up to. Max is showing everybody my high school professional photo, the one where the photographer
Is that a glamour shots?
brilliantly told my little brother to stand and me
Can I
to
see that again?
kneel or something. Yeah. We'll have to post. Max,
Send it to
just
everybody.
permission.
Was you an extra in Sweet Valley High?
I've got a good one
Still
for you
collecting,
next.
still collecting royalties. It's amazing. You know,
Well, we got to give Corey's mom a proper shout out for this.
Well, permission-
So Corey's
permission to tweet officially since we
What, for
like,
carrying
Corey's
him?
rehearsal dinner.
Broke the
so
seal.
we're at Antoine's,
which
having-
I planned. I did not the photos, but
we're having a great time. We're at the same table with his brother Casey. Casey's the man, my favorite mall.
we're gonna get him on the pod.
We're gonna get him on here at some
Yeah.
point.
Well, I mean,
Which is ironic because Max describes me as little brother. That's my little brother, but yeah, it's fine.
Casey seems older though.
He seems more mature.
Here we go.
He seems older but looks younger. I get it. It's fine.
Anyway, so on the table there was a picture of Casey and Corey in their Jesuit high school leather jackets. And Nick and I immediately are like, this is fucking coming home with us. So Nick takes the picture without talking to Corey's mom.
Yeah, it's- which I
She wasn't pleased when she thought it was actually
But
gone.
y'all didn't-
We just needed to make
Y'all
some
didn't
sort
tell-
of high
yeah.
resolution scan of this
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
y'all didn't tell me that either.
You're
and-
coming home with me.
Well, we gave it back to you.
I was
in
like,
perfect
I'll give it
condition.
back, but I think my mom was like, I didn't get that picture, or what I, you know.
No, you know what? I think I did tell her. I was like, we got to borrow this for about 48 hours.
Oh yeah, no, that's what it was. She was like,
She did.
Your friends wanted to take a picture, and I don't know why, but they said they would give it back. I'm just like, do you remember which one of the friends it was? I only had like 4 at the entire dinner,
She knew instantly.
and I think she was trying to cover for you. She was like, I don't remember which one it was. I'm like, there's literally 5 there. There's only one Baldwin.
And he wasn't even
But-
invited, so that's the funniest thing. He was Clint
But
State.
at least y'all showed up in matching outfits. That was funny.
We matched it up.
It was like an 8th grade dance, dude.
They
We
both
tried to go to ring dance.
So Max and
For Corey's
Clint was
rehearsal.
our guest who we had on to talk about Hawks for the Cause.
Yeah,
and
that's
I
a good episode.
appreciate y'all following that. That was awesome to see y'all chiming in on that. But so Clint, our team captain, was invited. But I say this because I'm glad Nick did show up at the rehearsal dinner. I only had 5 like dude invites because like Lizzie's family has 60 plus people, so like we each got like literally 5 friends each. So like I could have just done like a random generator to be honest, but Nick brought Clint brought a +1. That was Nick. And
Luckily, his wife hates Corey, so I got
she's like, I am not going.
That makes sense.
Yeah. It's ever since they got their plumbing replaced in their house after Hogs, just
No, in Corey's defense.
but they showed up but Clint and Nick showed up in the exact same outfit, like khaki pants, button-down shirts, navy blazers.
In Corey's defense, though, had the invites gone out, I think a little bit later, Nick would have been invited. You know, because we obviously
it's
from
true,
doing
it's
from
true.
doing the podcast,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, and you know, seeing each other on a regular basis. I think that
Wait,
would
damn
have.
it! I missed an opportunity to be like, the fuck you would. I missed that opportunity.
You did.
I had to reverse that.
There's a definite
but you're
Jake
right.
Paul
You're right.
resemblance there.
So-
It's on your phone now. You sent it to him.
So
How much unwarranted ego do you see in that photo right there?
Unwarranted. Did you see my tailback stats? He's like, fullback. My tailback was Mr. Football. Shout out Chris. If you're, I don't think Chris. is
4
listening,
carries,
but I'll
4
text you
yards,
later.
1 touchdown, baby.
We've all got it, bud.
Chris
No,
had.
to be fair, the guy he blocked for went to UCLA. Was
Chris
a
Marquez.
pretty high recruit.
He succeeded Maurice Jones-Drew at UCLA.
Very good player.
He was Mr. Football Louisiana. My
He was a
senior
good
year.
player.
2,700 yards rushing and 46 touchdowns. Our senior year.
And to be
very
fair,
good
he didn't do as much at UCLA.
He was
so
a
I
very
guess-
good player.
UCLA. So this is all I say.
fella in front of him.
UCLA, you screwed up by not recruiting me and going with even their fullback went to the pros. I forget who it was.
If Corey heard "Get the fuck out the way" one more time that year, he was quitting the team.
It's Nick. It's called motivation. It's called motivation. You get pushed to do better.
Oh dear.
So what better than like the guys like on your ass? God, that was another one. That was another one.
I missed that one. Which one?
No,
was
it's okay. No.
You got it in though. Look,
I mean,
checklist.
you notice the silence.
How's
They're,
the
they're
bingo card
admiring their
looking?
new wallpaper on their phones.
Yeah,
They're both just like, oh my god, this is great.
I'm going to print it out and put it up all over Labour Airport. Going through.
Yeah, look.
Yeah.
I know y'all are good with your Saint City and Me stickers going around town.
When he
so
gets off that plane in London, we need a big.
I swear to God, if I'm taking a piss at a bar and I see my face on a sticker,
You'll know you made it.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
He's famous now.
Yeah. Well,
There
As
you
long
go.
as he's not in Buckingham Palace.
Yeah, apparently that's where people go to die these days. So
Yeah.
You know, no offense.
Call this number
Swiftly
for a good
moving
time
on.
underneath it, you're fine.
Say what?
As long as it doesn't say call this number for a good time underneath it.
Oh, well, that will be there in due time, I'm sure. But you know,
We got to
All
talk
right.
Pels a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we're in a pivotal. But did you finish your point about
No,
Saints?
mine was more about the fact that I used to watch the NFL, continued watching it, and then started really getting into it and thought I need a team. I'd always loved jazz. My dad was a big jazz fan, and that was the connection for me. It was like,
Sure.
you know, I didn't care. That was it. So my entry in was very much about the city. I wanted to
Love
come. It was one of the two places on earth that I wanted to come to, and so I've been fortunate to come here.
And I mentioned it on when I was a guest on your podcast that one thing I'm jealous of for people who did not grow up here is what it's like as an adult to experience New Orleans for the first time. Something that the three of us, me, Max, Nick, will never get.
Yeah, but
That
honestly,
experience
you get to see it a little bit when guys like you say what we think.
And that's
we would
why
say.
that's why
You know
I
what mean?
love talking to guys like
Yeah.
Dana, Mike, and Steve, and so many of the other people we've met through this community. You know, Saints Block Party podcast, Ryan and Adam. You know, bringing everybody in for the draft parties because there's so many people in that group that came to New Orleans for the first time as adults and had this experience. I can't ever get that, but I mean. Would you say that your first time here is something you vividly remember and just is amazing?
I was sure.
Everything you thought it would be.
I stayed on the Sheraton on Canal, and yet again, I think we told this story on our very initial pod, but my wife had got me a Christmas present, which was I was going to the city and I was going to be going to a game. She bought tickets for the NFC Championship game before we'd even got there. So she didn't realise. She gave me it on Christmas Day, and I was like, hey. And then I was like, fuck. Not even there. So then we had to watch the Eagles game, and she was just absolutely bricking it. And she just said, I've got to go to bed. Especially we went 14 zip down, didn't we? And she was like, I'm off.
That's it.
Couldn't watch it.
So obviously we won. We came over, and when we came over and we came out of the hotel in Sheraton, there was a little group of guys playing music, and literally that was the first moment that I saw, and that was on Canal, which obviously I've been here now. I know areas,
Better spots,
better spots and stuff. But that was still so impressive to me, and then we went to the Absinthe House for our first drink. Hadn't even looked at that terror.
Great choice
it
there.
sits on.
Yeah.
We had a drink there and we came out, and my wife was like, what the fuck is this? And we are used to it in Europe.
In Europe, we have the strips. Like you go
In
to
all the European
the Spanish
islands.
or the Greek islands, Ayia Napa, Falaraki, Ibiza, there were strips.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
It's just like bourbon.
Yeah.
So it's not unfamiliar to us to have a strip like that.
But
I know,
there's still, like we turned up on a Friday, so you can imagine.
Yeah, packed. Yeah.
And she just it was like Malaga on steroids, which is a strip in Spain. And that was our first, but again, we talk about it on the pod. I'd always tell someone coming over for the first time, you've got to walk down that street just to get a sense of it.
Yeah.
but that's one of the things we try and do as a podcast is say to people, you do those touristy things, but actually, we know people like you guys who we can get advice from
Yeah.
and say to you, look, do a day in the French Quarter, but actually then go up to Beau St.
Check this
John
out.
Yep.
or
Yep.
go uptown and check out these places because a lot of people will just stay in the Quarter and they won't leave it. It's like, no, get an Uber and go to the park.
It's all
go
so
to any of
close.
the parks.
And
so easy.
I'll say most New Orleanians, some not, but we take almost just as much joy out of telling other New Orleanians that we told someone from out of town, oh, don't go do this, go do that.
Yeah, that's
and then when we find out you actually took our advice and had a great time, we'll then go to our friends and be like,
Yeah.
so they listened to what I said, and then they went and did this thing. And so that's why we love hearing about what it is y'all are doing when you are in town, because it's kind of like, all right, what'd you do next?
Yeah,
We want to know.
We've been around the Quarter this trip a lot more because obviously we have a French Quarter Fest and that's dictated our location. But if someone said to me, I'm going to come into town and I'm going to go to Quarter Two Sisters and I'm going to go to these places around the Quarter, I'd say to them, go Warehouse District and go to Pesh and try Cochon and these places because you can walk there. And the food's amazing, and if you want to do one day in the Quarter, eat at the, I don't say cliched spots, but the tourist spots.
Yeah.
Still
that.
fun.
Do it.
Do it.
You want jazz? Go on the other side. Get the Frenchman. Get down to
If
the
you
Bible.
really want to get
no-
a po' boy from Mother's, go get a po'
I
boy
did get a
from
po' boy
Mother's.
from last time because nowhere was open. We went to Manning's and they had no food. It was like
What?
You know,
This is the day of the game last year. If any of
After
you
the Bears
remember where Dan was obliterated and literally had to scrape himself out the
So
toilet
Tuesday.
bowl.
Max and I,
I was so disappointed. I missed Matt.
yeah, we had to walk to the
his
stadium
stuff,
before, but yeah.
That's a fun game to go to.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, again, talking about that is like if somebody in America was saying to me, right, I'm coming to London, what should I do? I wouldn't ever. I mean, I would recommend other places, but I would never tell them not to go to Leicester Square.
Yeah.
It's like you're going to London, you know.
But don't feel you got to stay there the whole
Yeah,
time.
exactly. But don't do it. So it's again, we would never recommend to anyone who's coming for the first time, don't do that. But it's like sample it, but then sample.
Which is
all
what we
the
said.
other
Which
parts of
is
the
what we
city.
said about Discord.
Yeah.
Just it's not as active as we'd like it to be, but
It'll
just
get
try
there.
and get recommendations in. And you guys are in there now, and it's
Yeah,
like
I love being in
if
this
you want
fun.
to drop a recommendation, if someone new opens in town, you go, do you know what, this
Yeah.
is open? If you come over, try it.
Because
It's
you never
good.
know. Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons we do it. It's like give people a head start before they get into town.
So we doing Arsenal Tottenham in the fall or what?
Let's do it, man.
I'll go.
Oof.
What's that ticket
hang
going to
with
set
Dan.
us back?
I'll go.
What's that
I'll
ticket
go,
going to set us back?
Tottenham.
Sorry.
To go to Arsenal Tottenham in
Yeah.
either spot. What's that ticket set you back?
At the moment,
Depends on the stadium, I suppose. We got friends who've got tickets. We could probably.
yeah. But if you were getting them on the open mic, you're probably still talking about 400, 500, 600
I
quid.
don't know. I don't know if it'd be that much.
It will
Pounds?
be because I tried to get some like.
I think we could
Yeah.
probably
For
get
for
some.
like nosebleed seats.
No.
No, I mean to be honest, I mean,
The stadium's big enough.
No,
to
we're
where,
gonna
like,
sit in good seats. We're not
Yeah,
going
yeah,
all the
yeah.
way there to fucking.
Well, see, like I would go and just like sit wherever.
yeah, I mean Arsenal Tottenham purely has become a little bit bigger than it was for a period
I mean,
of time.
I would say like if you came to town, like if there's a London derby on, we'd just go because
Yeah.
London derbies,
Insane.
they're ferocious.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter who's
do it.
playing. If it's a local derby, and it's a completely dealt. You look at when the Saints play Atlanta, and it's like we take the piss of them and their stadium, and when they come over, no
Same
fans
deal.
really
Yeah.
come over. But
They talk
you-
a lot though.
Yeah,
They
you
talk
go
a lot.
to a Premiership game,
they
and,
come over on
and
Twitter.
it can.
But we
There's
don't-
almost a toxicity
we
in there.
segregate fans. You
Yeah,
can't. sit-
you're not
Yeah,
allowed
yeah,
to go
'cause
anywhere
it'll
near.
be chaos.
Yeah.
Like it's tangible, pretty much.
So what do we do with that?
I think we are right.
Nick's like, we need solutions. Come on, we're doing this.
Yeah,
Or we take your Sunday league football. That gets pretty bad as well.
But you go down lower
That'd
down.
be fun.
Yeah,
Let's go play some.
But go to any
Sunday
soccer game
league.
in the UK because the incredible thing about I think soccer in the UK is there are 92 teams in our sort of 4 leagues.
Right.
And you'll still get in the third tier of that. You might get a club that is still getting 25,000 people.
Coventry right now, right?
Yeah.
In the cup.
But you might get 20. They might have an average attendance of 25,000 people. That's
Right.
for a third tier team. That's like, the XFL. Where,
Right.
you look at the gates.
probably
It's
lower
like,
than
what the
XFL,
hell?
to be
Yeah,
fair.
no, but you look at them and think, well, what's going on there?
Yeah.
This huge. I know, obviously, you got the college game, but this is that.
How do y'all feel about the Wrexham thing?
I
Do
haven't
y'all
got an
look
issue
at it
with
like dumbass Americans,
No, I
like
don't- I
buying
don't-
into it?
I haven't
or
got
is
an
it-
issue with it.
No, I have no issue with it. I probably have more of an issue with like Salford, which
I've
is
got
the
an
Man
issue with
United
that.
players. But I don't have an issue with it really because they are working their way up. They're not artificially
No.
getting themselves placed at the top. They're
Right.
having to.
And there are also financial regularities in place whereby they're not allowed to breach
To
them.
overspend
Yeah,
with- with
they're
their
just
ability
not. They
to
have a
overspend if
budget
they
and they're
want
not
to.
allowed to go beyond it.
Right.
And therein lies yet again the difference between that and the Premier
That's it
League.
as well. They're
Whereas,
bringing in like tourism to Wrexham, which is a small town
Which is
in
crazy.
Wales. It's
Industrial
like,
town
yeah.
or whatever, right?
yeah, industrial town, run down, and now obviously it's got a new focus on it, and tourists are going there. The
Yeah.
local
I
businesses
see
are growing.
people fly
Yeah.
in from across the world to come watch Wrexham play.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
nuts.
Insane, huh? It's nuts.
Yeah, like last time Wrexham were good, they beat Arsenal in 1991 in the FA Cup.
Snooze off.
He's
mate.
like, do you remember? Do you remember?
Funnily enough, I do.
Mickey Thomas.
Because Mickey Thomas scored, yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'll ask Dan, when was the last time you won a trophy? Of any sort, shape, or...
It was 2008 because it was the year my daughter was born. We won the Carling Cup. Jonathan Woodgate header against Chelsea.
2008. How many years ago is that?
Well, too many years.
Yeah. Anyway.
So is Harry Kane coming back next year?
No, I'm not sucking on that thing.
Yeah.
Off, you prick.
Poor Harry Kane can't even win the Bundesliga.
I can't. Do you know what I mean?
Brilliant. That's brilliant.
He goes, he dominates, and finishes second.
Max is like, who the fuck is Harry Kane? So do you want to talk about that monstrosity we went and watched on
Yesterday.
yesterday?
Yeah, I wanted to. So, how did y'all get into the Pelicans? Just naturally, just because
The city,
I'm a piggyback on.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of a Max and I talk about it a lot. Max is not a big basketball guy. To be fair,
come
I'm
on.
not either.
I'm a fair weather Pels
Yeah.
fan.
He
I had
enjoys
season tickets.
He enjoys the playoffs too.
Enjoy the playoffs. I don't have the bandwidth to cheer for two losing local franchises.
They're both winning franchises, by the way, this year.
Okay, I'm sorry. So they both had a winning record,
Nick
but they're
being a
led by
voice of reason.
losers.
Come on now.
You've said this more than anybody.
just
They're
masks
led by
maps.
losers, right?
I
What are the Bensons to you?
losers.
Okay, thank you. That's what I'm saying.
But the Bensons also love the city, so I appreciate it. I just don't think they are excellent at running sports organizations. So,
I agree with you.
I know. So that's a tough thing. But I've been behind the Pels for a while.
Well, you're a basketball guy.
Yeah. Well, you were when we were younger.
I just find it's just so long.
the season's too long.
Yeah.
Way too long.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
Well, I mean, I'll say this. When I had season tickets, we maybe went to 10 games out of the 41. And it's hard to go to half of the games.
I'm always plugged in,
we got
though.
tickets
Like, I've
of,
always loved the team.
of Jason of Stone Patrol, and
Jason went to high school with Jason
Yes.
Montague.
Yeah.
Same here.
so like he has got tickets there and for the Saints. I'm like, how do you?
He doesn't. You can't go to all
No,
those.
no,
can't
he
go
doesn't
to all
go to all the games, but
I mean,
it's
like a Monday at 7, you're like,
you couldn't. That's what he was saying to us on Saturday. It's like it's
It's brutal. It's
brutal,
like
'cause
the
you could be
dedication. Yeah.
Monday,
Yeah.
Wednesday,
Do that.
Friday,
Right.
Yeah.
Saints Sunday, and
My thing is, there's 82 games. And it's like if you lose one game, it's like, okay, they lost a game. They were on a 3-game losing streak, whatever. The Saints lose a game, that's the fucking season.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I was gonna say, if the Saints lose the open 2 games this season, you're like, well,
Yeah.
we're fucked.
Like when we can go back and pinpoint an exact one loss, like the Packers game last year.
Yes.
We go back and we say, if they wouldn't have blown that second half lead, they're in the playoffs.
Exactly.
And that's why to me, the Saints mean more because like with a
the
basketball
games
game,
mean way more. And,
way
and
more.
I thought
We
that was
didn't have a basketball team.
I
when we were
agree,
kids.
and
Yeah.
I think the NBA has a big problem with how much they're resting all the players now too.
Yeah.
Where like even the teams don't care about games because there's
Yeah.
so many of them, and
Yeah,
they're
you
not
can
that
say,
way.
well, I'm going to throw a couple of games because not throw them, but we'll just.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
Like I think
probably
about
do.
Premier League, I think about NFL. You think those players are ever like, you know what, my finger's a little sprained, I'm gonna
Yeah,
chill.
yeah.
And
They
that's-
die to be out there.
And that's the point people are saying about the Saints. It's like there are too many players on this team who will not just roll over and
Right.
die because they've got personal pride. DeMario and those guys, they've got
It's the
pride.
only
They're
thing
not
holding them up right now. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Demario, Cam, Cam, even though he didn't play well this
Matthew.
year.
gonna- Matthew, they're all staring down the end of their career. We're seeing them doing the NFL media training. They know it's coming.
Yeah.
They're not going to roll over and go, let's have our belly tickle because you want to get a top 5 draft pick. 'Cause
Right.
This is the end of our career. It's our legacy.
And we've had that talk too. That's why I love relegation. Why I brought it up earlier
Yeah.
is we always talk about it, and I'm always like, if you have a chance to win,
You have to
no,
take it.
that is what sport is about.
Yeah.
This rolling over for draft picks that you've seen in the NBA
Yeah.
and some in the NFL, even towards the end of the season, just resting people, I hate it. If you do that, you should be relegated. You should be out. You don't want to be here? Don't be.
Yeah, if you don't-
but
if
the
you-
problem
yeah.
is a reward for being terrible.
Yeah.
And that's I think that's a bad system. I wish it would go. Non-playoff teams go into a lottery.
Yeah,
And,
like the NBA
and
sort of
if
thing,
you're
yeah.
15th or first, it doesn't matter. Same odds.
Yeah.
Same odds. But they want parity so much, so every different market is invested. I think is what the idea is. It's all money based, obviously, but they should have to do their jobs well to do the best. Why are we rewarding the people who do their job the worst? I
And then
never
you're stuck at that mediocrity point.
Well,
where
the
you haven't
advent
got a top
of-
10
yeah.
pick. You haven't got. You're not
Right.
winning. You're not getting the playoffs. You're like,
Yeah,
it's like purgatory, really.
that's where we're at.
Yeah, and I'll say this. I think Nick probably does the best job out of the three of us of staying, I guess, focused on that point. Sports is about winning. It's about being competitive. And Corey and I sometimes will veer to the other side and say, yeah, Dennis Allen's a loser. we got to get him out of here, whatever it takes. But then you start thinking about it, it's like, how many times did we make the playoffs when you and I were kids?
Before Breeze.
Before Breeze.
What was it, 5? We talked about it.
And it's those were the highlights of our
life.
childhood.
Yeah.
Like, he and I were, being
The
9,
privilege
10,
to
11,
lose
12 years
36
old.
to 3 in the playoffs was the highlight of our childhood.
Yeah.
Vikings.
But, I mean, that's
We
the
did
reality
it!
of it. He and I would get...
Yeah, we lost, but it was great. It was a playoff loss.
He and I would get so irrationally excited to make the playoffs. And, in the back of our heads, we knew we had 0 chance of winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It didn't fucking matter because we made the playoffs. And hope was there.
And this is how irrational the fandom, to me, like stepping back a second from being the psycho fan that we've been since we were 5, is you look at DA, we hate him, right? We lost the division. We tied the team that won the division. We beat the shit out of them. Second to last game of the season. But, I mean, just ran them off the field. Their offensive coordinator's a head coach now. Baker Mayfield gets 30-something million when he couldn't get a job. We were ranked 10 spots higher as an offense, and their offensive coordinator got a head coach. That's how crazy, I think, like, the mindset is. Like, oh, they did so great. And it's like, we did so poorly. It's the same record.
Yeah.
And like, it to me, it's just all these, like, knee-jerk moves over, like, the biggest fraction of a difference between teams. That guy should have never got a job. I love that he did. I think it's awesome and good for him. But they weren't a good offense. But Baker looked better than Baker's ever looked.
Yeah.
So he gets a big contract. And then he fixed Baker by default. But they were like the 20th ranked offense or something like that. And
we grabbed coffee with someone today who's in the media.
Duncan, right?
Yeah, Duncan, and he was talking.
I reckon Dan was going to
Time out. Corey is a
keep
big
it
fan
on
of
the
Jeff
down low
Duncan.
there.
So.
Yeah, I got a little aggressive with our
I like Jeff.
podcast.
Look, Jeff's
No, I'm laughing. No, I'm laughing at the fact that Dan is clearly like somebody. And you're like Duncan.
in case you didn't want to tell everybody, I'll tell everybody.
So we went and met Jeff today for an hour.
Fine.
But he was talking about a guy coming out of Tampa, and he's like, is he like, we were talking about like characters, and we were talking to Jeff about like you've got to have a certain skill to be a head coach. You can't just be technically proficient.
Yeah.
Like, and I was saying, like,
Prime example
You
what
have to
we're dealing with.
Yeah, so I said DA, great defensive coordinator. but
Correct.
You're not a leader of men.
Right.
Exactly.
Sean Payton was a psycho, and he led men
Right.
because they bought into what he was saying.
Yeah.
His biggest attribute was almost his worst attribute.
Yeah,
His
like-
ego is what got him in trouble.
like-
It also made him a champion.
But also,
You know what I mean?
he was a psycho
Like, how many
control
years-
freak.
Yeah,
he wouldn't
can
let
you-
people get
So,
away
but-
with shit.
but-
He
And
knew
now
he was the
people
boss
get
and
away
he
with
let you
shit.
know.
Yeah.
Like, no one had a
Exactly.
question
So
about that.
With Jeff, he was like, the
Yeah.
guy out of Tampa, he said, does he have those attributes? We don't know.
No clue.
Like,
Right.
you good coordinator.
Because-
shout out Jeff, he was a great, he was working, and he just said, come by, and we sat with him for an hour,
That's
and we
awesome.
said, we're going to go. And
That's
he went,
cool.
you sure? You sure you don't want to stay? He was like,
That's
you're
cool.
supposed to be
Yeah.
writing up. He's doing all stuff with Gleason at the moment for the book, and we said,
Yeah.
no, come, we're taking enough of your time. But he's such a good guy, Duncan.
Yeah.
Really is a
Yeah,
good
I
guy.
gotta, let's say Jeff Duncan's a good guy. I like him. I've been friends with him for years. He's always helped us out. Talked up the restaurants when we opened them up, and was very
So he's saying
instrumental.
Corey does not speak for everyone.
Corey absolutely does not speak for
I had a
him.
moment
That's a
on
joke.
our podcast Twitter.
millennials.
Just
Yeah,
I misread one of
he
his.
may look 50, but he's all millennial guys.
Again, the compliments just keep flowing. Whenever I sit in this chair, like whatever I might bring from the outside world, I love just the praise.
We
and
can
the-
switch
Corey,
chairs.
I
and
always
we're gonna
say,
keep
I
him
always say
coming.
to people, if I like you, I would take the piss out of you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yes.
mock you. I've done it several times. I like
Oh, yeah.
you.
Well, you
If
can
I don't
tell.
like you, I won't even talk.
That
to
was
you.
that was a
And,
that was
now you can see y'all because y'all listen so much, and you can now see my visual reactions to when they say shit like that. I'm like, whatever.
yeah. But I'd
I'm
say
like, they say it, whatever.
when we were starting out, getting that
Yeah, we got-
dynamic
it took a
was
minute.
tough.
It took a
like
minute,
because
But
you
we-
think you're
we-
being attacked and you're not. Like
No.
you're like no. Like we're just
And that's
we like
what
each other.
well,
We're
like,
fucking around.
Yeah.
I've said this before. Is I'll take the piss out of people. It's what we do. We're British. That's what we do.
Also,
Our MO is to
see,
like
yeah,
maybe
mock people, but it's not from
And
a
the people
nasty
you like the
people.
most.
Yeah,
Right.
So if I go on Twitter and take the piss out of like I don't know Undeal or something, it's not because I've got an issue with it. It's just that it's what we do. We're British. That's our gut reaction is to mock people.
Exactly.
That's like
Well, it's funny.
way more fun. I'm gonna be honest with
Right.
you. It's the best.
Well, it's
Just
funny.
like being like, you're just the best, man.
Well, it's funny because our group of friends, you
Yeah.
know, and I'll include in this group anyone that goes on the beach trip.
Sure, beach
every
trip,
year.
yeah.
And aside from Greg, who's not interested in sports in the least, Nick and I are the oldest two. Everybody else, Corey's 38,
Yeah.
Clint's 40, I think. Justin's,
I think I'm the youngest in the group.
you're the youngest.
When
but-
Casey came this year, because it was like a de facto bachelor party, he became the youngest.
Yeah. I guess
Not,
the point
not
is,
that we're gonna, not that we can invite him again.
Nick and he's about Nick and I have
Just wait till your contract's up, Corey. There's a Casey waiting in the wings for cheaper.
Man, I'll take a roster bonus.
Casey, if you're listening, we'll
We're
text
over
you
the
on
cap
side,
at the
buddy.
moment,
Just
buddy.
convert my base to a signing bonus. It's fine.
No. So out of the group, Nick and I are the oldest ones by 4 or 5 years. We're both 45. And we just have a different, I guess, mentality on how we interact with each other. You know, you guys meeting, you meeting us in 2011, 2012, going...
We beat the shit out
I will
of
say
each
this. I am the same.
We've been doing this for 30 years.
But no, I am the same way with my high school friends who are also
Right.
38.
Well, you're also a little more sensitive than...
I think...
Nicer?
Well, let me put it this way. We've
Yeah.
always... Look, we've been friends for as long as we just
Yeah.
said, since 2009.
A while.
Whatever it
Yeah.
was. And when we're just talking amongst us, it's fine. Like, I never would get, like, that pent up about something or be like, no,
I
you're
think
wrong.
it is-
But I think when we first started the podcast, I took a lot more stock into the fact that, like, okay, we're doing what we do as friends where we, like, get into each other and say you're full of shit and you suck and you look like you're 50 and all that stuff. But
Is this
like,
where you're blaming us for you saying Caden Ellis again?
No, it was coming up at some point. But no,
want to go run on that one.
but I think the first few episodes, I was like very kind of in tune to like this is going out there to the people. But now I don't give a shit. Okay, right? But like the first few episodes, I think I was too worried.
You
about
were,
that,
yeah,
you know?
absolutely. That's what I mean.
And that's where the
About-
intensity came from in the first few episodes. So now,
And it kind of felt attacky or
matriculated.
whatever when
Yeah.
it's
But-
like, oh wait, it's not. And then, but when that's doing this, why it's been so fun.
But then
To see
also,
it evolve.
You
I
grow as a
understand that.
podcast.
But I would
Yeah.
understand that because, yet again, if I'm trying to imagine, so all right, so let's say Steve, we said, right, Steve, you come and join the pod, and like me and Dan have like known each other.
We'll go
solidly
there.
for
You
years.
fly in 3 days
And we
later.
were, yeah. But if we, you get that dynamic
Steve.
where somebody
no
would
comment.
feel slightly left out if you two have a sort of banter that's almost like an internal language and someone doesn't
Right,
get
right,
it.
right. Yeah.
And that's all that
That's
is.
what I mean. Yeah, exactly.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
See, and that's...
And also, Corey's a bit of a...
This is what I love about
He's
y'all's
an Andrus Pete. That's what we call him.
hey, that's intense. That's intense.
But you see, it wouldn't be fun if we agreed on everything.
That-
You know what I mean? And that's what I love about watching the three of you go back and forth right now, because you don't have to agree on everything.
No, that's the beauty.
This one, he and I haven't agreed on. There's a lot of shit we agree on, but there's also a lot more that we don't agree on when it comes to sports, Saints,
The
whatever
truth is,
it
we probably agree on 90%, but the 10% is way more fun to talk about.
Exactly, and
Yeah,
that's the
the reality.
electric
Yeah.
thing. That's
Yeah.
the thing that's actually electric and exciting when you talk about stuff that you don't agree about.
Exactly.
Why I think we both agree. I think Steve would. That's part of the reason why we love your pod, because obviously, little brother over here gets a load of dish.
Millennial mole.
But also,
Little bro.
all of
Used to
you,
it,
all
used
of
to
you will go at each other because you have opinions that actually are your own opinions, and you're different. That like, it's like not an agenda-driven thing. It's like that's how I think.
Just-
all right, I
yeah,
don't agree
exactly.
with you.
Yeah,
Right.
and look, the four of us have had this conversation multiple
Yeah.
times. I can't stand the groupthink mentality of whenever you hear that, like, just have your own fucking opinion.
Yeah.
The
You know what
best,
I mean?
the
And don't
best
be afraid to
episode,
express your opinion.
Yeah.
the best episode for us wasn't a great episode. Like, to listen to.
It was
Like,
until it got deleted.
No. Well, yeah, that would never
What are you
happen.
talking about,
Unfortunately,
Lorenzo? Are you talking about the Lorenzo
I
one or
wasn't
a
talking
different
about,
one?
No, I'm talking about when you and Max attacked me on one, but it
Yeah.
made the dynamic work everywhere.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it was like, okay, we're going to attack the person we just... If there's two of us who agree, we're going to attack the one, vice versa. It's no problem. And I think then we started to flow
Who did we
a lot.
attack?
You
Yeah.
had a spillover into our pod because he then asked me if I thought that Cam Jordan was a top 10 all-time Saint. And I was like,
yeah.
Steve was in that pod. I was like, I smirked. I went, yes. Yes, he is.
And
Wait a minute.
Early on, you were getting ganged up on
But that was a
because...
good moment for the dynamic.
Yeah.
When I said, "Look, Cam's not on my top 10," and because
It was
the
a
first
great episode, but
it
that
was
was
the
after the one I'm talking
But
about.
it was the first opportunity I had to,
and you
to
were
be
fine
like,
with it. Yes, that's what I mean.
Nope. Like,
You guys are
it's
idiots.
my take,
Yep.
and here's why I'm going to stand by it. Because we talked about like the post-mortem of
Lorenzo Neal.
the Lorenzo Neal.
Let's get into that real quick.
That did not air
That was a great episode.
because
Yeah.
because when we
One
took
day
it off,
we'll
when we took
release
it off
it.
air, I literally went outside.
He
Y'all
took
can see
a
what
break.
outside means now. Like I went out in the parking lot and like walk around, and then we
He
came
checked
back
in with his online therapist.
Yeah.
Eventually,
I was like, hey,
Better help.
Better help. Better help. Promo code saves block party.
Michael Phelps, am I okay?
Yeah, but no, I was like, but when I came back in, Max was like, dude, so you just think he's a blocking fullback? I'm like, yeah. He's like, that's all you fucking had to say.
I was
And
getting ready
I'm
to
like,
say.
I was
So
like,
we had
I didn't
this-
say that.
Just to give a little context to the episode, we're talking about the greatest fullbacks of all time. He says Lorenzo. I'm like, that is.
Well, I said Corey Mall.
That's true.
And I clearly didn't hear you because I would have just, you know.
That was when you was picking your all-time.
Number 32,
Yes,
right?
it was the
You just got it
original
wrong.
version of
Yeah.
that episode, but we decided to reset it because it went off. It went off the rails.
Oh,
And-
really?
Oh yeah,
and-
there's
I remember it. I remember listening. You was like,
No,
yeah,
there's
we got to
audio.
stop
No,
this
there's
it-
audio on this computer you're looking at right now. That
Yeah,
we
one
played.
day, one
we
day.
never put out the bad.
bit. No, but I remember the episode when you said we've had to.
It'll be
Yes,
an
yes,
entry,
yes.
Come out,
entry
no.
fee to our Patreon.
So
Yes,
That's
Yeah.
my favorite.
yes, because
Every new
Nick will
Patreon-
tell you we were cooking.
If you do the initial like whatever dollar buy-in fee for
Patreon, yeah.
you will
You get
receive
access
the
to
Lorenzo
this
Neal
episode.
audio as a gift.
And you
So we
will
had-
laugh.
It's like instead of the Sports Illustrated quarter zip, you'll get the Lorenzo Neal audio.
So Clint from Hogs for the Cause was here. Good friends with Corey, good friends with Max and I, long time. Y'all are great friends, right?
Yeah.
He felt when he brought up Lorenzo Neal, Max and I ganged up on him, and he
he-
kind of like sparked Corey. A
It
little
was
bit.
also like a
Corey was
National
fine.
Geographic episode. It was just like he was like,
Yeah.
like
Corey
pumping his
started
chest.
peacocking after Clint started peacocking.
It was like we thought we had like defenses.
All of a sudden,
and-
Clint was on his shoulders, and they were coming at
or
us,
like,
fucking
like
swinging.
Planet Earth when the birds do the dance. Like wow.
Yeah.
So I was talking to Clint just.
Not lions.
Did you put a pair of like yellow cowboy boots on when you were peacocking or something? Because that's what we used to do in the
Funny
UK.
you should mention that.
No.
He's walking around
It's the
like
biggest. It's the biggest insult Clint ever gave Max and I. He said, "Y'all are like Stephen A. Smith." That's what he told us
So too.
to Corey.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Said we were attacking him like
then-
Skip and when they used to
Whilst
just yell at
Corey's
each
sitting
other.
looking like Kim Mulkey.
Yeah, but then I think Max was like, "Well, he's being Skip Bayless." Just like,
But you got it
Yeah.
after,
Yeah, after the
right?
fact.
It was like Corey. You
We
love
talked about
Lorenzo
it.
Neal?
Yeah.
Defend Lorenzo Neal to the death.
I was like,
and tell us we're idiots.
no one
That's
in the
whole
NFL blocks
thing.
better than him. So and then they were like, "So you think he's the best blocking fullback ever?" I'm like, "Well, what the fuck else is a fullback? A fullback blocks for the tailback." They're like,
Fullbacks at
and
Jesuit
they-
High School blocked for
and
the
they were
run.
like, "But that's where we disagree." They were like, "See, because they were like, we think fullback matter, like runing the ball as fullback, catching the ball as fullback."
well,
matters
Jim
just much-
Brown's a fullback,
you know,
technically.
and that's
So,
one of the,
yeah.
one of the things we argue about. You know, and I was just like, no, fullback as a blocker, you're not going to find a better lead blocker than Lorenzo Neal.
And what did we say?
And
Just
y'all were like-
articulate it. Articulate it,
right?
say
and
it.
y'all were like, wait, so that's your criteria, lead blocker, and then all of a sudden you were like, you might be right.
Yeah, he's in
There
the
might
top
not-
few.
There might not be a better lead blocker, and I was like,
We told Corey,
You know.
we said if you would have just said Lorenzo Neal was
Yeah.
the best blocking fullback in like
Yeah.
NFL history, we would have shut the fuck
would
up.
have been no
right
issue.
then and there.
Yeah,
but it's like,
no
but it was a
issue.
good lesson in like, you know, but.
Well, you and I had a good conversation
People
the
say,
next
yeah,
day.
people say, oh, everybody's got a podcast, but not everybody's got a podcast that like lasts or continues. You know, and that was a perfect example of why. Like you've unless you're just a single person talking into a mic and you don't care how long. If you could talk into a mic in perpetuity, more power to you. But like,
You probably could.
I think you're right. I think you're right. It's funny you say that. 28 to 3 spinoff.
To be fair,
28
I don't carry a fullback on Madden when I play.
You shouldn't. They're obsolete.
Well, that's why Corey's not in the NFL. It's not his fault.
Do you know what I'm going to
All
do?
the talent
That's
is
exactly
there.
right. That's exactly.
When I get the
that's
next-
exactly right. I'm glad you brought
When
that
I
up.
get the
then.
college
NCAA
guy. Yeah,
game when it comes out in the summer, I'm going to edit a fullback and call it Corey Mole, and that is going to be my fullback.
Can
So,
you bench
time
90
out.
pounds 4
It's
times?
gotta be-
That is
Corey
my
Mall
Can I
came.
just
It's
say
gotta
that's
be
my
31.
favourite
It's gotta be
moment
31.
The
on this
greatest game
podcast.
ever is fucking NCAA football.
My favourite moment on this podcast is whenever I hear Max go, "Hold up, time out."
And you're like, oh shit, give me a snack.
Boom!
No, it's more like time out. He says it like 3 times. We figured it out.
That means the chef is about to cook, and everybody else shuts up.
Sometimes food comes out wrong.
He's done with the roux and he's
You
putting
know.
in the Trinity now. That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
No, I
Just
love
because the
those.
chef's cooks doesn't mean he doesn't burn the meal.
The episode I'm talking about too was soon after that, and I
Yeah.
think after
It's
those,
really good.
Which one?
It got to be. I want to say it was when I said, "You can't fire Dennis Allen after one season. You have to give him a second chance with an actual NFL quarterback before you fire someone. You don't hire someone to fire him in
Yeah.
a year." And y'all were like, "He sucks," and it was
Yeah.
like, "Boo!" And I was like, "All right,
I think
fair
Max.
enough."
I think Max's exact response was more eloquent. I think it was like, "The fuck you can't."
That's true. And then 2 weeks later, he said, "We're going undefeated and going to the Super Bowl."
Yeah.
So
Well, but like, to Max's credit, though,
Well,
you
spoiler alert, I'm going to say
Yeah.
that again in August.
I know.
Exactly.
I
They-
mean, to be fair, we do the predictions, and we
As-
do them again this year.
the same season when I passed by.
Everyone
Yeah.
comes in higher.
Oh, of course.
Always.
You've got eternal optimism. You're like, we're
Yeah.
going to win. You look at it, you go, we can beat the Chiefs.
but that's what it's all
Not
about.
this year.
Right.
Why do you
this year
watch if
with
you
that
don't think you're
schedule.
going to win? You know.
You go, well,
You don't think that every
Yeah.
year, Premier League? Of
You
course.
sit there going to
this is
yourself,
the
like-
year we turn it around.
Like you look at this year, you're like, oh, yeah, Brizzy will make a step up, or Brizzy will make a step up.
Brizzy,
and
yeah.
Brizzy, Roman. Got
Roman steered us wrong.
he
No,
did.
Roman steered us correctly.
Go
Y'all
back.
stop
You
listening.
didn't- No,
Brizzy.
go back and listen to our
Brizzy.
1 year.
No, I'm going off
episode.
of the text message you sent me.
Go to
I'm
the
going
1 year.
Brizzy.
Text message.
Verbally, he steered us
Okay,
wrong.
but I'm going off of the text.
We
Later.
don't- I'm sorry, Max. We don't know.
What is it? Brizzy or Brizzy? Breezy?
It's
Brizzy.
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 And the thing is, like, Nick and I are more like audible, like learners, right? So, like,
Roman
when
did say it 7
He
times.
said, "Bruh."
I listened to it because you
Like
put it
Brizzy.
on the
Yeah,
recap.
yeah.
for
And
the year.
Roman came in with the long A sound instead of the long E sound at the end. But just anyway,
I'm 100% sure.
So shout him out on Twitter when you go ahead and like yell at him.
that will. I'll say
Yeah.
Roman. You pronounced it wrong.
We love Roman.
I'm
On the
100%
pod. No, we
sure.
love him. But
After
Roman's
that-
the same. We'll tell him if he.
He'll admit to it. If it
After that
Roman
Bears
called you
game
out?
last year,
Yeah.
I'm 100% sure Brizzy was on bourbon with family.
I believe it.
100%
Yeah.
Really?
sure.
Somebody
I
took a
walked
picture with
past
him,
and I was like, that is. I was drunk, and I was like, that
I don't think you need to
There's a
say that. I feel
surprise.
like
I'm
that's
not
a tie.
100% sure,
I
but I'm
was
going to
on
hug him
bourbon.
just in case.
But I went back. I went back to my hotel early because I was flying the next day, and I walked past the. Is it the beach?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just see this guy, and I was like, that's fucking right, Brizzy.
That's my hero.
And I looked,
There he is,
This guy's
in
got
the-
tattoos, and I'm like, he's talking to like an older woman, blonde hair, and I was like,
Whoa.
I went back and looked at like, I went back and looked at the.
Is this the stalking we were talking about?
Yeah,
earlier?
just
Here we
see
go.
the stalking skills.
So I went back and
I'm
looked
talking
at
about.
Jay Frost.
I went to
stuff
my
that he did
Brian
with him,
Brzee
and it looked like the
folder.
woman was his mum, and I was just like, Brzee was out in Bourbon, like. Don't let the team know that.
I don't know. I prefer that he's actually here
Yeah.
right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
That to
Yeah.
me is awesome. The
Agreed.
people who
It's kinda-
stay.
Work hard, play
Yeah.
hard. If you're on bourbon, as
What's
long as
the
you're in the
opposite
gym
of
the
a
next
shout
day.
out to Mike Thomas?
Yeah.
Oh, we going there? We going there?
This is a big debate with him, I think, too.
I'm gonna
Actually, time out. No, I like that.
I'm
so,
Jose
where do
Mourinho.
you guys stand on the whole Saints not thanking Mike Thomas via text or Twitter or social media or whatever?
Do you guys
I don't
know the
think-
Jose Mourinho meme?
I love him.
Yeah.
I loved him.
Like,
You put
he's
it
insane.
in,
that
put it in
meme?
the speaker
Yes.
off your ears.
I think, yeah.
My view is he hasn't
Basically,
really
don't be
given
in
them
trouble.
much to make them want to thank him.
Well, let me. Do you?
If you
care
burn the
either
office
way?
down when you leave,
Yeah, you don't get a thank you.
they don't thank you.
It's like,
Like if I get fired and I walk out of the office, you go fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, and then I'm like,
You're
wait,
cool,
why didn't they give me a? Yeah, exactly. It's a half.
Here's the
baked-
other thing.
Yeah.
He was still in his. Corey was in his 20s when Michael Thomas was good. It's been a minute, dude. I'm just
By
saying.
y'all's calculation, would be like 30 years.
listen, he was a fantastic player for us when he was healthy. I do think he was been injury prone for the last 4 years. I know people disagree that he was injury prone.
Yeah, we've had this discussion.
To me, it doesn't matter what caused that injury. If you're injured for 4 years straight, you are injury prone.
Precisely.
It's not your fault.
You're not a good player anymore.
Yeah.
And it's not your fault, but you're not a good player anymore if you don't play.
I just think he's the kind of guy that's so in his head that if he's not playing, he needs to vent
He needs to
somewhere.
blame someone.
Because he hasn't got a competitive edge anymore because he's not on the field and he's not being able to bully people. So it's like, you know,
Obviously, he's a legend. We all love him when he played in those years. But if you don't play for 4 years,
Yeah.
We all wish him the best
Yeah.
with whoever his next team is going to be.
which he is unsigned,
But I don't give a flying fuck if the Saints thank him or not on social media.
Bowles isn't he technically still not sort of off the roster until.
No.
Well, he can sign.
He can sign.
with
He can
anybody
sign.
at this
Do you know
point.
what I mean? But technically, from
He's
you know,
he's
who knows?
technically on the
designated-
books, but he can still sign.
Yeah,
he's
exactly.
designated
So
post
maybe
June
you've got
1st,
post
isn't
June
it?
1st. You might, you know.
But it's not hurting him as far as going elsewhere. He can do that right now.
Yeah,
Yeah, if you wanted to be generous, you say he's waiting to see who people draft, and then he's not going to go. He's not. I say that somewhat tongue in cheek. Like he's going to say, I'm going to wait. I don't want to go where Marvin Harrison Jr. goes or Neighbours goes because obviously. But then,
yeah, but the thing there is that he's not going to be a
gonna
number
be vet
one.
minimum.
He's not
He's
going to be
vet
number
minimum,
one.
mate.
He's
Vet
going to be
minimum. No
two
doubt
or
about it.
three, and I think we touched on it the other day on the slants. Like, don't give him that many snaps because you need to build him back up.
Yeah.
Because the thing about it is that every single time he came back for us, it was almost like even though with Olave and the argument there whether he's a number one. Every time Mike came back, everyone was thinking, "Oh, he'll be the number one."
Yeah.
He probably needs to go to a team where he knows he's the number 2 or the number 3.
But can he mentally handle that?
That's
another question.
Who knows?
that, to me, if I'm the perfect spot for me, I think for Mike Thomas is he goes to a team where they've got a shit tight end, and they say to him, "You'll just be on short
You're a slot
yardage.
guy. Yeah.
You'll get. You've got a good hands. If we were on a 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4,
Turn
we're going
around.
to put you in. You're going to be a go-to guy, and you're going to get your receptions. You're not going to get yards, but you're going to get
And it's
receptions.
for like what, a Kansas City or
to me, the Chiefs is the perfect landing
Yeah.
spot for him.
But
They can use him as
whoever it is,
reliable.
and again, you're right. And then if you can get the snaps in, you can build yourself up. And then you might actually.
But with his
move.
injury record, I think he needs to go somewhere warm. He can't go anywhere cold.
Well, you want to know why he hadn't signed with anybody? It's the Monday after the draft. That is when veterans can sign contracts that don't. It doesn't count towards the cap formula or whatever
okay.
for compensation picks.
Yeah.
That's why he hasn't signed with
Which is
anybody.
what we did wrong the other year when we went quick with Andy Dalton and offset ourselves.
Right. So what you're going to see,
3rd round pick.
what you're going to see after the draft, the
Classic
Saints will probably
moves.
announce like 3 or 4 signings
Yeah.
that have
They're
kind of
all
been
lined up.
agreed to for like a month.
Yeah.
Probably Mekhi Becton, the offensive lineman from the Jets.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Underhill keeps
Underhill's
dropping
it,
the little breadcrumbs. I would bet money we sign him right after the draft.
I mean, we did it with Jameis.
If not, we
did
should
it
try
with
Howard.
Tackle.
There's a lot of spots on our offensive line that are available.
Yeah.
we don't have a
it's-
tackle.
It's
starter.
bad. We have
Yeah.
You know what? Derek Carr didn't look so good when they weren't blocking for him.
It's amazing.
Let the whole offensive line go.
It's amazing how that works.
Bring us Fashion You.
Yeah, it's well. I will say, what's funny. Y'all talked about how I set the record for the longest. Y'all talked about Saints. I think y'all have set the record for the longest we've gone with not getting into current Saints stuff.
Yeah, we've been
that's pretty
focusing
good.
on like Corey stuff.
It's pretty
mostly.
good. Yeah, it's been a great. I didn't know I was walking in the roast of Corey, which is fine. It's great.
I'm going to roll that Jimmy Carr in a minute. But
But
That Pete Davidson joke.
it's kind of like
Pete Davidson.
but I
the one
think
that Jimmy Carr did about his.
we've all we've talked about. We're at such a slow point. We know the draft's coming up. It's been so long since our last free agency signing. Y'all have talked about it a little bit with I think the past 2 guests. We've talked about it. It's not really a whole lot of current Saints news to talk about it. So I'm kind of glad we got into
we've
the other
got
stuff.
signings this week. We've obviously got Sun God's brother coming in and getting Mike Thomas's jersey.
Yeah.
But then, will he play a meaningful snap in that jersey? Probably not. So why get animated about it if he's not a regular season game?
Again, I don't
It is
care.
super
Give it to
funny.
him.
It's
Yeah.
super funny.
Hey,
fine.
look, we signed the Irish kicker. How about
Here's
that?
the thing. Every
Could-
Saints
could
fan
compete.
loved the Peyton pettiness. When it's not Peyton doing the pettiness, everyone's upset.
That's a good point.
Right?
That is a
You know
good
what I mean?
point.
For me, there's only one jersey you don't give to him, and it's number 9.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
That's it.
That
The
is
rest
the
is-
only number that should be off limits.
people
Because I
would-
see people wearing number 57. I see people wearing number 77. I see
Yeah.
people wearing number 51.
Right.
Why is it 8 and 9? 9, obviously.
Well, 9. Yeah.
Why the fuck is 8 off limits? Someone needs to get 8.
He was
I'm
the-
fine with someone getting
He was
RG
still
number.
the first star of the
That's
team.
fine. No, I'm fine with someone getting number 8.
They're hard to find, Max, but the Saints fans that are actually older than you might
There's
have
one next to me.
might
He's
have an
right to my
opinion.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I have
figuratively
no-
speaking.
I mean,
But those
some
original
people
guys,
rather they
I
retire
guess, like-
37 than
I don't
they.
know.
They what?
Some people probably rather they retire 37 than they.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would be a
Well, let me ask you this:
It's
Who
more
is the better player, Ricky Jackson or Archie Manning?
Ricky Jackson.
Ricky Jackson.
Okay, why the fuck is someone wearing number 57 right now and no one can wear number 8?
Maybe it's family legacy. I don't know. Or,
Well, Ricky, they're both in
when
the
I
Ring
say
of
that,
Honor.
maybe I mean something else.
I'm aware,
but I think maybe
here's the deal: no number.
think
The
that's-
NFL doesn't officially retire numbers anymore.
Well, I know that, but I'm saying like maybe the numbers change will change that. Like the idea that linebackers can wear single digits now, because for a while there they were just running out of numbers to give people.
We need
in
a
preseason.
quarterback with 99.
So
That's what we.
So I have, I have
not
a
yet.
theory.
Who's that Michigan
It's-
guy?
it's
But-
outlandish theory. I think I think they want Arch Jr. at some point. I think.
They're saving
I
it?
think
Max
they've
has
got
been
this
begging
thing
for
in their
that.
head.
I'm
They're
begging
like,
for it. I would love it.
they're like, if we just hold off long enough, when he comes to college, we'll get him. He comes in, wears number 8, he's wearing his granddad's number,
Gets
legacy's
killed,
back.
doesn't do that well. We got the Saints back, baby.
Well, you gotta, so
But we
that's
sold
one
on
thing.
record.
I think
Number
you're
of
on.
jerseys.
I think 100%. That
He needs to show something.
So-
to
so
come
Nick-
first.
Like old-fashioned shop, isn't it?
Yep.
So Nick and I grew up collecting cards, and our biggest dream, was always to have the Saints pick a quarterback in the first round, to where we could go invest in every single one of his cards. It has only happened one time in the history of the Saints where the Saints picked a quarterback in the first round, Archie Manning. Yeah, and that would be the dream, to be able to go spend life savings on a rookie quarterback, get these cards PSA 10 graded, because Nick and I have been big card collectors forever. This one, I got to shout him out for finally buying the Drew Brees PSA 10.
Y'all speak a
playoff
different
contenders.
language.
That's
that-
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, Corey, this is. I had to shake his hand when I walked in tonight, because him owning this card is the ultimate.
Oh wait, this is breaking card news for you?
This is actually breaking card. news.
No,
That's
I'm
what-
serious because like
You're letting Corey come back here.
I don't know
Better
much.
pivot.
I don't know much about it, but like I do at least appreciate when y'all have like, oh, I got this new card in. So this is
Well,
breaking
this
card
card
news.
costs more than your card that is outside.
I have a great trade-in value on the Volkswagen Passat.
Not as much as this guy.
I buy it because of its resale value.
drive a Volkswagen Passat.
Wait, buy American. Buy American.
Real quick
Anyway,
though.
so
So you always have cards in your.
Yeah, but I do it wrong. I get bad players.
Yeah.
So I've got a Peyton Turner card, a Mark Stephen
Yeah, you do it on
you
purpose.
can bring it
don't
anyway.
you?
But
Caesar
these,
Ruiz.
so-
You're with the logo, not the player.
I just the ones that are cheapest on eBay.
No, so back to the original point.
I'm loading up.
The original point was that
Breaking
it would
corners.
be amazing to be able to just have the level of excitement that comes with drafting a first overall or a second pick overall quarterback. We have never experienced that as a fan base.
Nope.
And it would just be fucking incredible to say, all right, cool, this is the guy. Let's get behind it. Let's watch what's going to happen. Let's follow him.
We did a whole pod on this.
I know.
Like,
We're,
we've talked about soccer. Like, there's nothing better as a soccer fan than
Homegrown.
a homegrown player.
Homegrown player.
Yeah,
Exactly.
That came through academy.
Kane, like,
yeah.
He was at
Yeah.
Arsenal, but he was from North-East London
Yeah.
in a stomping ground that's Arsenal
'Cause-
and Tottenham. So either team he'd ended up at,
Right.
we would have loved him. So if you've got a kid from New Orleans who's New Orleans royalty
With that sort of
as
royalty.
QB, people would just like.
People would say it's
It'd
rigged.
be, it'd be
honestly.
the Reggie Bush moment as far as tickets and promotion,
Without a
where
doubt.
Reggie turned the whole thing for interest in the franchise.
Yeah.
For sure. What his career was, doesn't matter.
Reggie Bush comes in, he's doing adverts for David Beckham. He's got the Adidas sponsorship. It's just everyone's up all over it, and
Right.
the focus is there.
Look.
Probably more focus on Reggie than there was on Drew.
Yeah, there was.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Without.
Yeah.
absolutely.
And I love it, except there's a huge ocean that he has to cross before we even get there. He has to play
Yeah.
a college snap or start.
Oh,
show
yeah,
that he's
and
good.
I'm not going to
He's
restrict
married,
this.
I know.
I'm not going to restrict this to just Arch. It doesn't matter.
But
I
that story,
want-
if-
I
that
agree.
story would be the best story.
If
ever.
we have the
Yes.
season that I don't want us to have this year,
Well, it's not going to be this year.
No,
it would have
you
to be
need it
the
like
next
3
year.
years.
Actually, it probably need to
Yes.
be 2 years from
because
now. Because
my
because
boy
Quinn Ewers
Georgia
went back.
is going to be up there. If he
I don't want him.
increases,
Yeah, swiftly moving on.
Yeah,
Don't want it.
stop it.
that was good. I needed that. See, I need Mike here to
Right.
be like swiftly moving on.
But here's the thing, though. So
Corey's talking about Georgia again.
Arch redshirted this year.
Yeah.
And if he follows the typical Manning trajectory, he's probably going to stay till he's a redshirt senior, which would put us in what 2028.
3 years. Right, 3 years.
So he'll be
No, 4 years because he redshirted. So
he'll be a
he would have
redshirt
4 more
soft.
years.
He'll be a redshirt sophomore this year.
He'll be a
He's a
redshirt
sophomore.
freshman this year
This
because
year.
he redshirted.
That's right.
So he would be. He's a
Well,
redshirt. He's basically
No, this was his second year.
No, this was his first year. He's a
is his
redshirt
first year.
freshman going into the 2024 season. You can look his way all you want. I'm
Those,
telling you.
they were
Those
trying to get-
Mannings are like
was
me.
when,
They look older than they are.
Ewers
Eli
said he
was a
wasn't
redshirt
going.
senior.
They tried to get him to transfer, didn't they? Saying go to LSU. People were not.
Eli was a redshirt
They wanted
senior
everyone-
when he came out of Ole Miss.
Right. I was saying the Mannings are like
was.
me. They
They
all
both
look older than they are.
No, my point is that
They were counting on engineering, but football worked out.
I never counted on engineering.
I mean, you see the forehead on those guys?
That's what Peyton stores his plate.
That's right.
Yeah. But
So
yeah,
it'll
you're
be
right,
the
you're right.
It'll be the 2028 draft.
But he could. But I mean,
So
I know
you need
that-
the 2027 season for when the wheels fall off.
But I know
and
that
this
Manning's-
is assuming that Arch actually takes the starting job in place.
I know the Mannings have traditionally done the redshirt 7th, 5th, whatever your senior thing. But if he blows up his junior year, he could go.
He stays 4 years.
He's draft
now.
eligible like in a year.
I mean,
2 years.
You saw what
Whatever.
You saw what
Tomato,
it did with
tomato.
Eli. If it looks like he's going to be going to a shit team,
Then they'll. Yeah.
they did it with Eli. Archie knows.
They'll just manipulate
They'll
the
just
system.
play.
I mean,
around
we
to
thought
you.
it was bad when Archie was the one, because Archie's the one who kind of called the shots on the San Diego NYG thing. I mean, now you've got Peyton, Eli. I mean, the whole.
Powerhouse.
I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
Cooper's even more popular than either other brother. So like the whole gang's coming in, being like, hey guys, you want those TV rights? You want all that advertising money? Yeah, come on. Arch is going to stay.
Like, why would you
know?
want a personality like you know Eli when he was young?
Well, he
Putting
got
him
2
in New
titles
York
out of it.
seemed
Shit.
crazy.
But he got 2 titles.
No, I'm not saying it was a bad move. I'm just saying to think that you would want him in New York from his personality
Yeah, it's
coming
wild.
out. That was kind of wild.
It's a weird move as a dad to be like, no, don't put my kid at San Diego.
Right,
I
where
think it
there's
was
no
more-
pressure.
Sent him
There's
to
no
the-
pressure to
It was
win in
more-
San Diego.
I think it was more. I
I think it was more the front
The
office.
New York media market just
Yeah, but
crushes
it
people.
was more the front office and the
Yeah.
ownership of the Chargers.
Yeah,
because
that's
they're
what I'm
not good owners traditionally.
He must have hated them.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, he had a front row seat to the Ryan Leaf draft. Archie did, watching Peyton go with the Colts and then Ryan Leaf. I mean, you probably saw what they did with Ryan Leaf, and
but the Colts
Yeah, it's
sucked.
not what they did with
Colts
Ryan Leaf. It's
sucked.
what Ryan Leaf did in the NFL.
this is all the Chargers.
I mean, Archie's been quite open about it. He said, like, I played for a bad team. I'm not having my kids play for a bad team.
Yeah. And it's probably that's the best and most simple way to put it. Is
Yeah. Like, asking for us to have a really bad season in 27 when we're quite likely to have really bad seasons this year, next year.
yeah.
I mean, I'm convinced Dennis Allen is not going anywhere for like 2 or 3 years.
I'm not sure about that. I think
I'm convinced that
He might be around until the cap is reset in a fashion where
and that's 26.
He is
Right.
back in 2025 without
I agree
question.
with that. I
I'm
agree
convinced
with
that it's possible. I'm not convinced that it's definitely.
I'm just saying, our Fire Dennis Allen shirts, which you can get where, Corey?
28to3.com/
Not 28.3 podcast.
He forgot. He
There
forgot.
we go.
Yeah.
Man, I
so long
teed
since
you
we
up.
plugged it.
That wasn't very slick, mate.
He's a lawyer, not a marketer, man.
All right.
There it is. Well, you told me he was a marketing major.
23podcast.com.
And
Weren't you a marketing
take
major?
2.
Yeah, you caught me off guard there.
All right,
That's
We haven't
right.
talked about the t-shirts in a while.
He did go to
Timestamp?
Georgia, everybody.
I'm sorry, top 30 business school in the country.
Anyway, so,
all right, lawyer.
So those shirts are going to be relevant on the website for at
For a
least
long
2 or
time.
3 years. So
Yeah.
You genuinely believe that he'll be there?
he's not going anywhere this year.
Barring a 1-16.
Barring a 1-16 season.
I kind of agree.
I think you've probably got more chance of the team winning games and Kubiak going. And people go, well,
Yeah, because he'll be in
can read
demand.
into whatever people are saying in the media or what other podcasts are saying, but if what they're saying is true and people know what Dennis Allen's like, and we have a good year on offense, people will be like, well, we know it's because of Kubiak. It's in spite of DA.
Oh, yeah,
I don't
for sure.
know. I'm just saying what we hear people talk about.
I remember the URL.
It'd be awesome if he was a leader, Kubiak, and because we don't know that yet either.
But he hasn't said fuck all.
Yeah.
Not even an interview.
Not an
It's like,
interview.
whoa.
Yeah.
So here's the thing: when we're ready,
Carmichael too.
Yes.
when we're ready to do what the other team is going to do and make Kubiak our coach and fire Dennis Allen, it is shop.28to3podcast.com.
There it is.
Okay.
2 minutes after.
He
Had to do the
rebounded.
segue.
But you know what the problem would be if we fire
Holding up
Dennis
my
Allen
web browser.
and stay with Kubiak, people and things go.
But I mean, that's being presumptuous there.
Yeah,
because
no,
we
that-
haven't
that-
seen Kubiak do
Exactly.
anything
No,
yet.
We haven't.
That
I
is
mean, like you
presumptuous.
could
But
envision the
it'll
scenario.
be and then we don't succeed. It'll be the same thing again. It's like you don't want to do a proper
Yeah.
scout for a head coach. You're
Right,
just
yeah,
taking
right.
whoever's in the building.
Right,
And actually, the best one you had is now coaching in fucking Detroit.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Well, a couple of them.
And we all loved him. We
Yeah.
all loved him.
I mean, Ben
but-
Johnson's in Detroit.
But
Like,
he left before Peyton was gone.
But he wasn't
correct?
with us. Yeah.
That's the problem. What do you do? I mean, you're not going to. And he was ready, clearly, and
Yeah.
he's a great leader. next year will be a huge season for him to see if that leap happens. We're all rooting for it. We all loved him.
Love him.
So we were sad to see him go. I don't know if there's someone in the building yet.
No, the problems are all upstairs.
Yeah.
That's where they are. That's as simple as it gets. The problems are upstairs. There's no leadership up there.
Ownership's fine with me.
As much as everybody loves Mrs. B, she's not a business individual. She's never run anything.
Everybody's comfortable.
She married into money.
Exactly. Everybody's comfortable. I mean,
everybody's comfortable.
Real quick, quick Pels thing before we get off this.
Okay, it's got to be
there were trades available for centers, which is
quick.
clearly where the Pelicans are deficient defensively against big teams down low. And she said, we're not going to luxury tax. They trade Kira Lewis for nothing, right? Gave picks to get rid of Kira Lewis just to get under the tax. That's where we're at, right? So, and I'm not saying that's bad or good. It's maybe knowing where she's at. The finances are what they are. None of us know any of that. But if in the NBA, if you're not going in luxury tax, you're not winning a title. It's not going to happen. So if you don't cheat like Man City, you're probably not winning a title, right?
Like a comedian at the end, he's brought me back round.
I literally was there thinking my last line will be Man City cheat.
Yeah.
So thanks, Nick.
You got it.
All right, so I think we've exhausted all the battery life on Corey's computer.
I mean, it's kind of like a metaphor, right?
Yet Corey's still going somehow.
I'll always keep going. Like Max said, I'm a lot younger than I look.
That's what she said.
We would have had half an hour more of battery if you hadn't fucked up your own shop.
Yeah. That's what I tried to hit that URL so hard, man.
Thank God for Google, huh?
Shop. I know. The most genius thing about our own website, it's on Google.
I think we've gone on long enough.
And one thing they said, that little tidbit, is that this is the first time y'all have actually recorded in person together, which I
love it.
Now we're getting a divorce after this.
It's like
the person we was with today was trying to convince us to buy a property in New Orleans together.
It's like COVID dating.
We both have wives. We have to.
But you're like, it does make a lot of sense.
It does make a lot of sense.
It's like that's where she was going. It was like it makes.
It's
so
like
much sense.
the COVID marriages. But anyway, Max.
Well, let's do this before we get out of there. Does anybody have anything else they want to add? I know. Should we go ahead and plug their podcast one more time?
Yeah, I think we have. If you have not listened to the Saint City and Me podcast before listening to this one, i.e. you are not an overlap listener, I guess is the correct term, then go the hell onto the app, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcast, wherever you can find them anyway. Google. I just use Google for our own damn website. Go to Google, find them, listen to them. The podcast is amazing. It really is.
And this is one of the few things that me and Corey can agree on. The podcast is amazing, and everyone that is listening to this should listen to it. So
and follow MKC Papa on Twitter. Follow Apocrastinatus, and then Steve is still here, guys. Steve is still here. Hey, proof of life.
I'm still here.
All right, you heard it. I can't fake it.
And by the way, I think I'll say maybe on our behalf, or Dan might want to add something. Thank you so much yet again for your hospitality, not only tonight, but in general from whenever we come over here. You guys are absolutely fantastic. We appreciate you so much.
Absolutely. Wouldn't have it any other way. So thank you all again for being here. Thank you, Steve, for deciding on Thursday to come over to the U.S. From England.
FOMO is
whenever it was. And to everyone, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and thanks again for listening to another episode of the 28 to 3 podcast.
Who dat?
What a comeback!